Good morning, maayong buntag, naimbaga bigat, masantos sa kabuasan, buenas noches. Hello everyone, it feels good to be together again for another special series of our team webinar here live from CHED Regional Office 1 here in San Fernando City, La Union. We are very happy, as I have said a while ago, to again have you with us today. Thank you for joining us, and our deepest gratitude goes to everyone who have been a part of our webinar series since day one up to this very day. Just an update, dear friends. We now have 12,717 likes and 21,938 followers in our Facebook page, that's CHED Region 1. And in our YouTube channel, that's CHED Regional Office 1, we now have 4,960 followers. Please keep the numbers counting and increasing so that all of our education experts or students, faculty members, even parents can have access and update to what education is all about, especially now in this new normal. So, dear friends, we are very excited and happy also to inform you that last Tuesday, the Commission on Higher Education launched our first ever online open educational resource platform. We call it Filconnect Connect. This is to enable our higher education institutions, our faculty members, and students to have free access on online education resources materials. To get to know more about this project, about FieldChed Connect, may I invite you to please keep your eyes and ears attached to the video we will be playing.
To choose from, scholarly prepared, accomplished, and uploaded by Welcome to FieldChed Connect, a higher education open educational resource application. FieldChed Connect contains higher education materials which are useful for teaching, learning, and research purposes. It allows learners and educators to access content anytime, anywhere, free of charge. No registration needed. Just type in the keyword of the topic you wish to search. Click on the categories on the Philippine Standard Classification for Education and browse your way to its rich content. FieldChed Connect is easy to use. Just key in your area of interest. The site offers different relevant and interesting materials to choose from, scholarly prepared, accomplished, and uploaded by competent faculty members and contributors from various partner Philippine higher education institutions. Guided by the principles of open educational resources, these materials such as PDF, audio files, ebooks, presentations, videos, and many more are very beneficial. FieldChed Connect. We educate as one.
So again, dear friends, that's a FieldChed Connect. We are very happy to inform you that that is a good avenue for you to access open educational resource materials for you, for your students, and of course, for everyone's consumption. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for those who would like to contribute or at least share the resource material so that the entire country can see your outputs, please send us a message via email so we can communicate with you and upload your resource materials in our FieldChed Connect website. So the site is here. It's fieldconnect.ched.gov.ph. All right. Dear friends, for the past few months since COVID-19 pandemic started to disrupt our lives, especially in the education sector, we have been hearing terms such as synchronous learning, asynchronous learning, online distance education, and we've been bombarded with a lot of terminologies. Not only terminologies, but also activities that we think are really suitable for our learners and our teachers also to ensure that the continuity of learning happens despite the odds that we're facing. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we have again invited our one of our most sought after speakers to share to us one of we consider the best materials to ensure that even if students are not with their teachers, even if learning is not happening inside the classroom, learning still continues. And that is about learning packets. It's a packet with an A and not an O. But before this, allow me to introduce to you our speaker for this morning. Our speaker this morning is currently the Dean of the School of Teacher Education and Liberal Arts of St. Louis University in Baguio City. She graduated with Latin honors for her Bachelor of Secondary Education, Master of Arts in Special Education, and Doctor of Philosophy in Language Education. She also finished her postgraduate studies in distance education from the University of the Philippines Open University. She presently serves as one of the Board of Trustees of the Institute of Inclusive Education of St. Louis University, board member of the PAPSET, and Executive Secretary of PAFTE National. She serves as Master Trainer for Intel Teach Philippines and WorldLink Philippines. As trainer, she continually attends intensive trainings and actual applications of integrating ICT into teaching and learning. She has been actively attending and participating in SEMEO, UNESCO, and CHED projects for the delivery of educational technology and technology for teaching and learning courses in the teacher education programs throughout the Philippines. As a researcher, she was able to present papers in various national and international conferences and was able to publish researches in national and international refereed journals. She currently serves as project leader for commissioned researches by the Commission on Higher Education with the Summer Institute of Linguistics and another research project commissioned by the Komisyon ng Wikang Filipino. She also serves as the university coordinator for the Erasmus Plus project on internationalization of higher education at the Philippines Network or Antenna with various universities in Europe. It is with distinct pride and honor that I introduce to you my colleague in the teaching profession. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Felina P. Espique. Hello, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much, sir. It's a
Yes, it's nice
pleasure
to
to
see
be
you
with
again.
yeah, I'm very happy and we're honored, of course, here in St. Louis University because you've been inviting also not only, of course, some of our faculty, but of course yours truly. And we're also very happy that our president and even our vice president for academic affairs, Sir Argeles, and of course our beloved president, Father Gilbert Sales, who was with, of course, your region. In the past, they are always willing, of course, to be of help to the commission because, of course, the
Yes,
commission has been very supportive also of our projects. So thank you very much. And I think I need to start so that we will be able to accomplish
yes,
all
ma'am.
the learning outcomes of this presentation. Okay, so may I share with you my slides? Good morning to all our participants coming from different regions. Okay, so it's really is a blessing that there are trainings, of course, that are being conducted because it is through this training that we will be able to share all the things that we may share to our okay to our colleagues in the profession. So I would like to say thank you also not only to the Commission on Higher Education but even to our PAFTE chair in the person of Dr. Ignacio. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be sharing this one not only to our teacher in education and teachers but even to our faculty and the administrators because of course the survey will provide a link where you may answer one of the questions that I would like to know from you. So maybe You were able to see that already. So it's through a Mentimeter. So Mentimeter is one of the applications that we can actually use when delivering, of course, our online courses, but not to be utilized for correspondence-based courses or those that you're to deliver through radio and television modalities and through face-to-face modalities, unless there is, of course, is a connection of our students with the internet. Okay, so kindly do that, and then later we're going to see the results of that pre-assessment evaluation. So that's for the first exercise. So we will already have an exercise so that you will have the feel of being a participant, being a student in because we can do the same thing with our these applications. Okay, so the very reason why we are here again is to make sure that we're going to develop, or maybe you already started developing. So let's try to review what you're able to do if indeed it's meeting some of the requirements of the Commission on Higher Education, the requirements of the Department of Education, and of course, the requirements according to the different pedagogical theories in delivering flexible learning modalities. So as we all know, the materials that we have right now, or the materials that we've been using in the so-called residential mode of instruction is different with that of what we're going to use with this so-called new normal. So we were, of course, required to train our teachers or to do things on our own so that via the so-called flexible learning modalities. But then, of course, we cannot accommodate all our students who will be choosing any of the flexible learning modalities without preparing the materials that they're going to use. And as I said during our previous training, our course learning packets, or the modules that we're going to use, all the materials that are part of the components of the course learning packets, are supposed to be doing the responsibilities already of the teachers during the face-to-face. Hence, there is a significant difference in the characteristics, in the layout, in the design, the language that we're going to use when developing course learning packets or the modules that we're going to give to our students via the different flexible learning modalities. Okay, so again, to review what we need to know about the different flexible learning modalities, may I present to you the learning outcomes of this presentation. So the very first thing that we need to do is to identify the essential components of course learning packets for flexible learning. So what are these components? Because inside the classroom, there are a lot of materials that we bring into our students, including our presence as the teacher. So we always say it's the teacher who is the best instructional material, doing all the different demonstrations and so on. But because of the change in modality, because of our migration to flexible learning modalities, there are a lot of things that we've been doing in our class that must be communicated already by us as teachers through our course learning packets or components. So what are these components? The very first thing that we need to do is to identify the essential components of presentation. Okay, and then let's just describe the parts of each course learning packet component. So what are the characteristics of each of these components so that we're prepared? Or maybe if you're able to prepare already some, let's try to go through all of them and let's check if indeed it is appropriate according to the modality for chosen by our students. And of course, it's very interesting to develop. But of course, this morning, we may not be able to review immediately because, of course, you will be engaged through listening with our discussion, with our presentation. But at the end of the day, we hope that you're going to start, or maybe you're going to polish, or you're going to enhance whatever course learning packets you're able to develop in your respective institutions. Okay, now let's try to go back to the two main modalities under flexible learning modalities. The very first one is the distance learning. So as we said in our previous discussion, when we speak of distance learning, this will actually refer to the modalities that we use for our students, but with an element of the separation of the learner and the teacher. And as we said previously, this distance learning has been used by many institutions, by open distance learning institutions, even in the early 1800s, because of the need to access to every learner, because it's our responsibility to make sure that every learner must be accessed, or that they should have an access to education. So for persons with disability, for the artists, the actors, some of the professionals who would still want to go to would still want to go for further studies, they are actually availing for our distance learning modalities in ODL institutions. We also have, of course, blended learning, and sometimes ODL institutions are also using this one. But what is significant in most literatures, it's actually telling us that blended learning is a combination of face-to-face and online learning, or some other modalities within the distance learning modality. So these are the things that we need to look into. And if you will try to go over the documents of the Commission on Higher Education and of the Department of Education, all of these actually, those that they're saying, like for example, residential mode of instruction, that's referring to face-to-face. And then when we say non-residential mode, that's of course referring to distance learning modalities. So it can be a correspondence-based modality, which is actually is the very first modality according to literatures, and it is how, of course, distance learning started, and many other modalities. And that is what we're going to discuss for this morning. Okay, now what then are the essential components of the so-called course learning package in flexible learning modalities? Okay, the roles of teachers in the classroom is translated, or is to be provided, the support being given by teachers in the classroom or in an institution, academic institution, is already translated in all of these so-called course learning package. To the sports office and many others, all of these are supposed to be provided already via the different modalities that we're going to choose. Like for example, in the Department of Education, they're saying in their document that for the distance learning modalities, they will have the so-called online learning modality. And then the second one, they call it actually as modular, which is referring to the career-based or correspondence-based modality. And it will be supported by the radio or the television program. So DepEd is actually having partnership with some radio stations and even with television stations maybe, so that of course they're going to access to many of our students who may not be able, of course, to access them through online or through the World Wide Web and many others. So the very first is a course guide, and for the Department of Education, they call it a subject guide. Okay, in higher education institutions, based on our documents in SHED, we always call our subjects as courses. And that's the reason why we always say course learning outcomes. So course here will not refer to the entire degree program, but it will refer to the specific subjects being taken by our students. So what are these things that must be contained by a course guide? So what are the characteristics also of a course guide? That is what we're going to discuss further. And then the second one is the learning module. So the learning module will refer already to the specific units per module. That is what we're going to show later. And I will be showing to you some examples. And of course, in the learning module, we also have the embedded assessment guides. Okay, so it's very important that we will have very detailed, very specific, and written with self-instructional text, yung ating mga assessment guides and many other parts of our course learning packets. Our assessment materials must be provided already also to our students. And of course, in order for us to make sure that we will be in keeping to all the technological, pedagogical, content knowledge framework that we are teaching in the teacher education institutions, we need to make sure that we will provide, as part of our course learning packets, audio and video recordings that must be included in the course learning packet, whether it will be delivered career-based or whether it will be delivered using a learning management system, or whether it will be delivered blended, like some students will come to the university or to our institutions to get some of our materials and then listen to us for some time through a face-to-face, and then get some other materials for their distance activities. Okay, and then interactive multimedia presentations also, although it can be that for our interactive multimedia presentations, the audio and video recordings may already be embedded there. Or in an LMS, all of these things are provided. So all of this, let me go back again. The course guide is a very important document in a course learning packet because we would like to make sure that our students will be very successful despite the modality because of the very clear instructions provided in our course guide. And of course, the learning module that must be given or delivered to our students on time and is written with personal touch, with personal way of communicating to our students, that as if they are seeing you as a teacher, and the very clear and detailed assessment guides. Okay, because they are at home, especially for the correspondence-based modality, whereby the students will have to walk through all your activities, understand all your activities by all the different components you provided for them, including, of course, our assessment materials and the other two here mentioned, which are audio and video recordings and the so-called interactive multimedia presentation. For the interactive multimedia presentation, we know very well that our students, they are visual learners. They have a lot of activities engaging, a lot of gadgets, and they will not appreciate if the materials we're going to send them are but printed modules only, but we're not going to provide them other materials that will motivate them to learn because also of their context and because of their profile. And their profile is they belong to this age, to the 21st century classrooms, which is already engaging all sophisticated technologies. Okay, so this is the first document that we're going to go through. We're going to discuss about the different parts of a course guide. So if I am a student and I will receive a module, if it's the correspondence-based or the career-based or the modular modality mentioned in the document of CHED, I should know exactly what I will do. And I will know that by reading the course guide given by the teacher. Because in a face-to-face class, when the teacher will enter the class during the first day, the requirement is for the teacher to provide the syllabus. But the syllabus will not speak for the teacher. Hence, there is this presentation coming from the teacher. So the teacher will have to discuss the content of the syllabus and then answer some questions coming from the students. So meaning, our syllabus actually that we're presenting to our students in the residential mode is not very specific. It's not very clear if a student will read it on her own or on his own. But for a course guide, if I am going to read this one, I know already what to do. I know already how I will be able to accomplish all the activities, and I will know already how I will make myself successful in the course. Okay, so that's the function, or that's what we must read from a course guide. So what then are the different parts of a course guide? First is the course overview. We know very well that our students were able to choose a degree program. Like, for example, I would like to become a nurse, I would like to become a civil engineer, and so on. So we orient, of course, our students as to what are the different program learning outcomes that they need to understand, so that by presenting to them all of this, they will have an ownership of all of these program outcomes. And cascading from the program learning outcomes are, of course, are our course learning outcomes coming from our curriculum map. So if I am a teacher facilitating one course, I should present to my students the course overview. What is the course all about? What are the course learning competencies or course learning outcomes that I must be able to demonstrate at the end of the course. So this must be very clear to our students. Now, considering the different modalities, if I am to choose, for example, as a student, a correspondence-based modality, or if I am to choose an online-based learning modality, will the course overview be different? Hindi po, because it's non-negotiable. The course learning outcomes, or in the Department of Education, they call it as the most essential learning competencies in a specific subject. These are non-negotiable. So that is what we're going to present in our course overview through identifying in our course guide the learning outcomes. And of course, our course guide, coming from our course learning outcomes, we will present already to them the list of contents. So this is where the difference of textbooks will come in with that of the module that we're going to develop for our students. Because the list of contents that we're going to provide to our students must be different with that of the textbooks that were produced 1 year ago, 2 years ago, because in the Department of Education, for example, they already identified the most essential learning competencies. So the most essential learning competencies will have to determine our contents. And some of our textbooks or existing textbooks, it may happen that there are pages there that will not actually allow or facilitate the acquisition of all our learning competencies identified in the most essential learning competencies provided by the Commission, by the Department of Education. So same is true with higher education institutions. We have our PSGs telling us that these are our program learning outcomes. Identify your institutional outcomes. And then you provide also your outcome based on your typology, if you are a university, if you are an institute or a college. So all of these things should be very clear to our students and to the parents who will be assisting also our students. And of course, the course structure. So how will you structure your course? So if the modality is blended, when is the time when I will go to the university to see you as my professor? How will we do the testing, for example, of a specific skill that cannot be demonstrated by me or that I cannot record because it should be demonstrated in one of the facilities in the university? So that should be part of the course structure. So when is the time when I will come to see you? When is the time when I will not come to see you? Especially that we are observing social distancing and many others. And these are supposed to be present in our course guide so that the student will know when to go to the university and even the parents. And maybe we can, of course, show these documents to some people who will be asking us as to why, for example, one student there in Pangasinan will have to come to St. Louis University. Because, of course, there are maybe activities that must be done in the university if face-to-face will already be allowed, and that is articulated through our course guide. So all of these things should be present in the course guide, which is the first document. Ideally, for St. Louis University, that's what we've been doing because first we were able to also learn this one from our programs in distance education. Okay? And then the components, of course, like for example, if we are going to include a material which is a recording, or for example, there is a CD that we're going to include in the material, so we need to discuss that one. If there is a brochure, that must be included also in the material that we're going to send to our students. Meaning, if I am a teacher, for example, and I would like my student to know if there are services coming from the Students Affairs Office or from the Guidance and Counseling, we can also include that as part of the component. Because we know very well that it's also our responsibility to give information to our students as to how they can access to all of these services. So this can be part of our components, like if we're going to deliver a course learning packet for 3 courses, like for example here in the university now, a student is enrolled in 9 unit course or in 3 courses. Apart from all the modules from the recordings provided through an OTG USB, we may also include the brochures as to how they may avail of the guidance center services of the university. So these are some information that must be written in a course guide so that our students will be guided and so that our students will not be confused as to what they should do. And of course, our study schedule, this is very important. And for us to make sure that our students will really be very successful, we need to provide them study skills advices. Because as we all know, especially in distance learning, many of our students were not really trained to do things on their own because we provide the guidance when taking an exam inside the classroom. But for now, we need to make sure that we're going to really fully develop the independence of our students in terms of their study habits. Like for example, providing them some guide as to how they will be very successful or focusing attention to all the activities and many others. And that is by providing some undertakings or by providing some prompts through our online modality course learning packets. And of course, as I made mention a while back, the support system that we will provide for our students. Okay, so I would like to show you some samples of course guide. These are, of course, our materials developed by St. Louis University, and we're really very happy that we were able to train them through the UIDC because of the prompts of our president of our VPAA. So we're very happy that many of them were able to prepare all of these materials, and that's the reason why we were able to provide already all of this to our students via the two modalities that we're using now. That's the correspondence-based modality in the online learning modality. So I am going to show you a sample of a course guide developed by some of our teachers. There are materials that I developed on my own. Okay, so I would like to close this one and then share with you the samples of our course guides. I will show you one of the materials developed by Dr. Silva. It's a course guide for the course Waves and Optics. So she was able to develop this one after having a training with our team. And not only Ma'am Silva, all of our teachers were able to develop their course guides for all the different courses that they are facilitating. So I'll open first this one. Okay. Okay, I hope you are already reading the material. It's not actually is a very long document. It's a very short document. For this course guide of Dr. Silva, it's only 9 pages. So we have, of course, all of the different codes there. So as I mentioned a while back, you need to introduce to them. And if you're going to go over this material, the use of first-person point of view in phrasing the sentences that makes it different from a textbook is what you can actually read in the sample. Like, for example, I, us, we, for the student to feel that you're talking or that the material is talking to them, and these statements are actually coming from their teachers. So for this one, for example, this course will help you focus on the fundamental concepts, on mechanical, etc., etc. Okay, so there are also statements relevant to the laboratory activities because this actually is a lab course in St. Louis University. So how are we to do this one if it's already via correspondence? So let me, for example, read this one with you so that at least you will have an understanding as to how this will be done. The course Waves and Optics play an important role in understanding the world around us. We can see their application in everyday undertakings such as looking yourself in the mirror, using spectacles, or simply able to see things or hear sounds. This course will help you focus on the fundamental concepts on mechanical and electromagnetic waves. It will help you to demonstrate content knowledge where you can apply its application across curriculum teaching areas. It describes the production and propagation of waves, its characteristics, types, and properties, and so on. Okay? So the laboratory is closely for this paragraph, it says here, the laboratory is closely related to lecture topics and includes methods of classical experimentation. So in the regular class in the past, there is this experimentation that's being done, of course, inside the classroom. I mean, inside the laboratory. So Dr. Silva stated here that laboratory experiments are given as inquiry-based activities as a strategy in developing higher order thinking skills and so on. But for the modality, which is correspondence-based modality or to be done at home, such laboratory activities are contextualized using indigenous or local materials. So to be able to demonstrate an understanding of all of this, an assessment activity will be given to our students. So that is what she was able to articulate here. So our course learning competencies that will cover, of course, those that we're able to articulate in our curriculum map cascading from the so-called program learning outcomes are also articulated here. Okay, so that our students will know exactly what they should do. So after completing this course, you are expected to demonstrate content teaching areas in physical and biological sciences. Also, you will be able to perform contextualize. So in the past, in the old description, we did not mention about contextualized experiments using indigenized and so on. Okay? Even if we're going to read, for example, the description in the Commission on Higher Education, PSGs. Lastly, you will be able to design a lesson plan in a contextualized experiment as feedbacks in teaching and learning practices in waves and optics. As a future teacher, this course will help you to build a strong foundation in the physical sciences. So to ensure the accomplishments of all of the learning outcomes made mention, so we were able to identify already the contents of the module. Okay, so the module with that we may print or that we may upload using our LMS, these are actually are the contents. So this is what you're going to provide in your course guide. So it's the introduction that will make it different from a textbook, because the significant difference of textbooks or manuals with a module is the self-instructional information in the details that we provide for our students. And many of us, especially those who are engaged in alternative learning system, most of the materials that are being used actually are modular. Okay? So students can follow things on their own because of the instructions and because of the choice of words we use for our materials. So for this one, the very first module was already described, exploring the disturbance. So you need to make sure that you're going to come up with a presentation which is really very appealing also to your students. If it's a course module for the basic ed, the presentation should be different, because we must see to it that our kids, they will appreciate if we're going to make use of some visual presentation or cues. Anyway, later I'm going to show you some samples of modules in the basic ed. Okay, so module 2 and then module 3, module 4. Now, I would like to repeat, all of these modules were actually developed and they were given titles and descriptions based on the course learning outcomes. If it's to introduce, to practice, or to demonstrate. So again, we need to go back to our labels in our curriculum map. If it's to introduce a concept, to practice a concept, or to demonstrate a concept. So which means it's possible that we're going to use different resources to be able to fully come up with a module for our students. So this is already is one of the parts of the course guide that is really is very important. So we were mentioning a while back that our students will have to know how to successfully make it in the course, and that is through the help of the course guide. Okay? So this module was prepared for you to work on diligently and independently. Remember, this is meant for you to advance your knowledge in physics, to become confident in teaching the subject area, because they are, of course, our student teachers, not only in your practicum, but also when you are already ready as a full-fledged teacher, okay? Doing physics activities is challenging, but with the help of your course facilitator, that is me, and your enthusiasm, you will be able to ace it, okay? So these are some of the very good statements, and you may add, okay? So that you will be able to get the attention of your students. Like, what are some of our advices that we can provide? Like I was mentioning a while back, we need to provide them study advices, like to help them to manage their time by saying this: schedule properly your reading assignments and your activity accomplishments. Have your planner or calendar of activities ready. Remember, you have other modules to accomplish for this semester. Focus your attention. Make sure you do things one at a time. Read the material over and over until you're able to get the point of the lesson. If you do not understand the lesson, especially the problem-solving part, you can read other materials found in other resources like the internet or books. Also, you can ask the help of your parents, siblings, or friends. Do not forget, I am here to help and assist you. You can message me through platforms I will be giving you. One of the most important element, according to Savory in 2005, when facilitating flexible learning modalities is the so-called visibility. Even if you are to give them this material and it's a print material, there must be a statement there that will allow the student to feel that you can be contacted. Okay, like for example, if you're going to give them a cell number, maybe two numbers that is accessible, di ba? Hindi naman tayo nagpo-promote pero karaniwan, di ba, Smart, Globe, yung mga ganyan, okay? Give your best in doing the assessment task, whether formative or summative. Target the highest standards because you are a better student. You have the knowledge and skills that you need to finish with quality work. I believe in you, okay? Submit on time. Before the end of the midterms and finals, you will be submitting the accomplished activities in the modules through correspondence. Once I receive your materials, I will inform you immediately. Be patient in all the other information you would like to provide here. Answer confidently. So these are advices that you can give also to your students and add, of course, more information for this one. In terms of answering, what would you want the students to do to make sure that you will not have a lot of problems? If they're going to send it through you, through your LMS, or if they're going to return back to you the accomplished modules. So you need to give them information like write neatly and legibly. In the face-to-face instruction, we always tell this one, face-to-face to our students. But now, what will we do if not to inform them through this one? Maybe you're going to tell me, what if it's an LMS, like it's an online classroom that we're going to use? We need to remember that many of our students, they have erratic net connection or there are times when wala talagang gumagana, but during the middle of the night, they can already open the internet. So the words that we've been hearing is synchronous and asynchronous. So many institutions like St. Louis University were following the asynchronous facilitation of our online courses. Meaning, the teacher will always check every day all of the statements coming from the students, but they were able to set already the activities within the week so that anytime the student will be able to read and go over the materials. They also have the recorded versions of their lectures. So anytime the student will have an internet connection, good internet connection, they can download the material and then read it. And then if there are questions, they will have to post, of course, in the forum prepared by the teacher so that anytime the teacher will be able to read that one, the teacher will be able to give an answer or some advices. Because for some of the students, maybe at first they were able to check online-based learning because there is a need for us to do some surveys, and that is what I was able to mention last time. So in the first place, what modality will our student choose? And then some of them, at first, they have very good internet connection. But maybe by August, if everybody will have to go through online, baka magkaroon ng problema. So, magkaka-erratic yan. So, mas maganda pa rin yung asynchronous so that our students' anxiety will not be heightened by us always doing some synchronous activities and so on. So, writing neatly, legibly, to give answers that are complete and concise. So, these are some statements that you can actually provide this one. This is a course guide. If we are going to prepare, again, assessment guides, task guides, performance guides, iba po ulit yon. Okay? So, this is only for the entire course. But then again, there are activities for the different periodicals. Like, for example, there is this formative assessment. So, there must be a guide that we need to provide also for that. But for this one, it's for the entire course. That's the first material that they should see prior to going over the different parts of our modules. Okay, so for problem-solving activities, make sure that all parts are provided, given required formula, solution, and final answer. the course guide will actually depend also on your course learning outcomes. It will also depend on your requirements and so on. But there are, of course, statements in the course guide that are common to everyone. So work independently, motivate yourself, contact me. These are all the information that you should provide them. If any part of the module or lesson you need my help and guidance, do not hesitate to contact me through an email, messenger, and so on. And then, of course, I said a while back, the study schedule is very important. Pacing is very important in flexible learning. It will help our students and it will prompt them to manage their time properly, because upon receiving the material, they know already what must be done in the different periodicals. So for this material, it's actually for the first semester. So it's to start on August 10 to 14. That is when they're going to do the first unit of the first module. And this is actually is our instructional design decided for St. Louis University to follow the 5E constructivist model. That is what you are actually seeing under the activities. The activities that we have here, even the topic learning outcomes, these will all determine the contents of the first module. And then the first unit, for instance. And then for unit 2, for simple pendulum, we will provide, of course, our topic learning outcomes and all our activities. Depende po sa pinili natin na instructional design. Okay? Anyway, I'll go back to that later also. And then this one, so you will actually see here already all the different instructions as to how they're going to do their activity. So on September 4, 2020, the students should already do the graded quizzes. If it's in the correspondence base, you gave already the pupil or the student earlier on the module, so that on September 4, the student will be prompted to do that graded quiz. What if the student will do it earlier? There is no problem. But for as long as we're going to give them guides, at least they're not going to do it after September 4. But on September 4 or prior to September 4, they will already do this one. That's for the correspondence base. But what about if it's online, like you are using an LMS, like Microsoft Notebook class or Schoology or Edmodo, or you are using Moodle, you are using Canvas, LMS, or you're using, for example, Google Classroom? Well, of course, you will have to have the setting that on this date, nakaset po. At kung sinabi nating asynchronous siya, then the time set that you will have for September 4 should be 24 hours. So that anytime during September 4, the student will be able to do the quiz. But if it's asynchronous, and we would like that, it will be a weekly activity. So you're going to set the time that anytime during that week, the student will be able to do the quiz. So it depends on how we're going to do it. But let us just remember that many of our students have erratic internet connection. So it will help if you're not going to set it, like, for example, from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock in the morning of September 4. That's the only time when the graded quiz will be opened by the student. And then immediately at 12:01, magko-close na siya. Well, of course, our students will not also feel good about these settings that we are to do in our course learning site. Okay, so module 2 and the rest. Now, for the correspondence, like you gave them already the print module, what the student will have to do during this time is to do the graded quiz, but will not be able to submit it to you because it will involve a lot of money on the part of the student if every time nagagawa siya ng quiz, ibibigay niya sa'yo. But because the graded quiz is embedded as part of the module, basta masagot lang niya yun doon sa module. And then, when you will give them the schedule already to let them submit the module, so kasama na yun sa isa-submit niya. So for example, for this one, natapos yung module 1, module 2, meron na namang summative assessment. Okay? So there are possible activities on September 7 to 18 na mga formative assessment activities, pero meron siyang summative na assessment. Ito yung graded o yung mga faculty mark or tutor mark na mga activities, and that's the graded quiz. Because if you will see here, may mga trivia time, syempre baka mga short quizzes yan, may mga performance activities, pero ang pinaka-summative na graded activity will be done by the student on October 2. Okay. What about in blended learning? Sa blended learning, maybe the very first quiz that will be given will be inside the classroom if it may happen. But for the context of St. Louis University kasi dalawa lang ang pinili namin dahil yun yung doable considering all the protocols of IATF, and that's the modular na correspondence-based at saka yung modular din na through the LMS. We are using here for my case, for example, for my students who are now in China, I'm using Schoology. At first, Microsoft Notebook sana. Pero Schoology ang pwede doon sa kanila dahil hindi pwede sa kanila ang Google Classroom. And it's the Google Classroom that everybody's using here in St. Louis University. We also, of course, studied how to, meron din kaming Microsoft. And then maybe in the future, if we can have Canvas and so on, let's see. But for now, ito yung mga user-friendly muna sa aming mga students. Okay? So, Module 3, ito na, ilalagay ninyo din. So, tulad ng sabi ko, lahat ng mga topic learning outcomes na meron dito, this will actually guide us on how we're going to develop the different units of the different modules. So, if you will see here, we have actually, for Module 2, 2 units. Unit 1 and then Unit 2. In textbooks, ang module ay chapter, yung unit. Chapter 1, chapter 2, ganun po siya. But usually, in ODL institutions, in developing their modules, they actually divide the different parts of the modules by units. Okay? So we have here module 3, and then with the first unit, with the schedule. And then, this is when they're going to submit already their accomplished modules, embedding the graded quizzes I was able to show a while back. So for the instruction here of Dr. Silva, she said on November 3 to 6, they need to submit already all the modules that they were able to accomplish. So for the first part or during the prelims, ang dapat na natapos nila ay module 1, 2, and 3 through correspondence. Okay? So pre-assessment quizzes, midterm examination, and so on. But of course, in giving also information for the correspondence, you can actually include in your course guide that they should make sure that they're going to complete the return address, the receiving address when sending all of these module. And we can give them also further instructions like an advisory that they need to follow it up with the teacher, or you need to follow up with me if I was able to receive it, or I will inform you if I will receive it, or you need to inform me if you were able to send it at anong express post ang pinagpadalhan mo. So all of this information should be provided in our course guide. Okay, so, and then all of this will already follow. So this is for the course guide. And another information is on evaluation for formative and summative. Like it may happen that there are activities that they were able to do, for example, for Engage, like the trivia time here, or their activities under Explore. Will we give scores to all of this? By observing principles of assessment? No, because there are assessments that we provide to our students to let them know if they were able to understand the lessons or if they may proceed already to the next module and so on. But it must be very clear to them by you articulating it so that they will not always ask you if they are to submit it or not. That all of those pre-assessment activities, parang yung pre-assessment natin kanina, through the Mentimeter, gagraduhan ba yon? Siyempre, hindi naman. But these are activities that will just elicit, of course, their motivation and so on. But it must be very clear in your evaluation if will all of this be submitted? And of course, we need to check all of these things even if we're not going to submit, so that by checking all of this, like for example, you are able to provide them in your module note pages for them to write all of those that they were able to get as the key concepts of your lessons. You just put it here that you're going to check on them, and if they were not able to accomplish all of those, that you're not going to give them yet their grades. INC pa sila, incomplete pa sila, okay? So answer the print-based discussion activities, submit 7 experiment reports into graded quizzes for midterms and finals, submit the final projects, and then accomplish the midterm and final evaluation, and so on. So we also have here the formative assessments. that's described here specifically. So kung ano yung mga mga assessment na gagawin, like for example, reflections and so on. Okay? And then to be followed by the summative assessment. Ito yung mga graded na mga quizzes. Because we must already educate our students that not everything that they do is supposed to be graded, that they should not be very grade conscious. So formative activities, formative assessment activities are activities that will inform them or that will help them or guide them if they need to study further, if they need to go back to the first module, and so on before proceeding to the succeeding modules. So that's the time when they may already proceed to answering the quizzes. Like for example, before I will even click or attempt to click, for example, yung nakaset na quiz doon sa aking LMS, naintindihan ko ba talaga? So we can actually set that. Like for example, did you read module 1? Did you do all of these pre-assessment activities? If you did, that's when you can click the button to go to the quizzes that are graded and so on. So these are very important parts of course guides. And do not forget also that you should provide an information about the technological tools that you will be using with them so that they will be guided, they will know what to prepare, and so on. Okay? Yung mga MS Word, MS PowerPoint, mga Adobe Flash, for example, if you are to let them do this one, sa mga correspondence-based, like they only have laptops at home but no internet connection, dapat yung installer niyan, kung halimbawa dahil wala nga internet connection, ilagay mo na doon para pagtanggap ng bata, may install na niya yung Adobe Flash na kahit hindi siya nakakonect sa internet. Because in the correspondence-based, di ba, ang ipoprovide mo yung mga print material at mga recordings. And now, hindi natin nilalagay sa CD. Nilalagay na natin yan sa mga memory sticks. So that is what you're going to send to your students. And of course, your grading system so that they will know and the information about you as the contact facilitator. Now, pwedeng after presenting this one, you may already include the information about the offices that I made mention. Like for example, how will they go to the course, to the site of the libraries? Pwedeng ilagay din dito. How will they go to the site of the guidance center? Pwedeng ilagay after the contact information of the facilitator. How will they avail of the services of the clinic? Like for example, pwedeng may mga itanong pa rin naman tungkol sa kanilang concern, sa dental, sa medical, and all other information that you may provide. How will they contact the dean's office? How will they contact, for example, the vice president's office if there is a need? From your perspective, to have it be placed there. Because you see, it's not the tendency of our students to really be exploring our websites. Even if we were able to present it there, kung minsan hindi nila binubuksan. Usually, they are more conscious of opening the course sites provided by their teachers. And that's a reality. Okay? Kahit na ilang beses na sabihin mong nandun, hindi pa rin nila tinitingnan. So that's an example of a course guide. I'm really very happy that our professors were able to develop all of those after showing to them, of course, the materials that I was able to show them during our training. So let me, for example, present the course guide that I was able to use also for my class. So this is another example of a course guide that I was able to show to Ma'am Dottie in the rest. So mas maganda na yung mga ginawa nila. It's actually a technology for teaching and learning too, but the course guide that I was able to it's actually following the adapt model. Like we already have our existing module, but what we need to do is to provide an additional course guide. So I have here, of course, some statements. Pareho din lang naman doon sa ginawa ni Ma'am Dottie. And then, ganyan po, nakalagay yung module 1 and 2, the description, and so on. Okay, para lang makita ninyo, and then the course guide. If you're able to read, if you will go back to that of Ma'am Dottie, na-thematize niya itong halimbawa, 1 to, ilang items sa akin, 1 to 11, maganda yung ginawa niya, na-thematize niya. So, I hope that you can also do something better than what we are presenting right now if you will do on your own or sa mga nasa nagtuturo sa inyo sa elementary kasi may mga participants tayo na nasa basic ed. Siyempre, gawin yung mas shorter naman yung inyong mga statements. Something that is readable, shorter yung sentences for our students. Hindi yung pagkahaba-haba, nalilito na sila, hindi na nila nasundan. Like for example, I have here a statement, post it on a conspicuous place so that you can always see, and so on. Do not procrastinate. So these are some of the sentences that I have here. Okay, and then tungkol naman dun sa kanilang pagsunod sa academic conventions, nakalagay dyan, like for example, in terms of plagiarism, nakalagay din dyan yung mga dapat na susundan. Okay? And then, this is the difference with that of Ma'am Dottie. Ito ay kunwari pang short term ito, so nakalagay din dyan yan na June 3 to 5 naman ito. Sample ko lang ito sa mga faculty. Kasi nag-start naman kami hindi June 3 to 5. Because of the movement of our school calendars, nag-start po kami nung June 15. Okay? But I prepared this one prior to the change in calendar. That's the reason why ganyan ang date. So it's very important that we have the dates because according to the experiences of many institutions who are able to develop their programs and have it be presented via flexible learning modalities, particularly distance learning, the completion rates actually ay very high kapag ka talagang may schedule, may prompts, at nasusundan ito ng mga estudyante. Okay? So for this one, for example, hindi lang graded quiz ang gagawin kung hindi finalized assignment. So dalawa lang na term ito, midterms and finals. So yan ang difference doon sa isa. Okay? So ganun din yung sinabi ko na isasubmit nila via correspondence yung module 1 and 2 and so on. So ito ay isang halimbawa din naman ng aming schedule. So fixed time should be provided for the students. So just in case there will be some changes, of course, you need to inform them through your LMS or through your cell phones. Okay? So yan po ang mga instructions sa aking course guide. Okay? So yan ang sample po ng course guide. And there are other course guides, of course, developed by our faculty. Halos lahat na ng aming mga faculty, natapos na nila ang kanilang mga requirements. Okay? So, may I go back to my PowerPoint presentation? Okay, so may I proceed? We have also our in-slide assessment or kapag kalibro yan, ang tawag natin in-text assessment. So there are 2 slides in our Mentimeter activity. If you're able to do the first one, that's our pre-assessment. I hope that you're able to do also that assessment relevant to the modalities chosen by your students in your respective communities. Later, I'm going to show you the result of our Mentimeter activity. So we have here, of course, some activities that we do for our students, but for our discussion this morning, I will just focus on the online-based learning and the correspondence-based learning activities that we provide for our students because both of these are being used even in blended learning. So apart from providing them course guides, if you will go back to the materials that we were able to show kanina, there are a lot of assessment activities that we provide them. How to do it, when to do it, ano nga ba ang gagawin. Okay, so what are the different essential parts of assessment guides or ang ating mga product or performance activities if it's in the Department of Education? Do we need to provide also guides for the formative assessments? Yes, of course. So I will just be showing to you some examples after I will present to you the essential parts of assessment guides because you may go beyond this one, but what are those that are essential according to various literatures in distance education? Like, we should clarify to our students the output description. So ano talaga yung gagawin nila? Anong output ang kanilang ibibigay sa iyo? And then many of our students, sometimes they will not really appreciate because they do not find meaning in what you are asking them to do. So we need to provide them the rationale of what they're going to do and to provide them the details of the materials. If, for example, they need to come up with an activity that will engage indigenous materials like in the waves in optics, then we need to see to it that we're going to clarify the materials there. So any materials that may allow them to demonstrate our course learning outcomes. And teachers are really very creative. We know that there are materials uh, in our laboratory rooms, in our institutions that are present at home. So that is what you will identify or describe in the materials. And of course, the specific guidelines, the evaluation tool that you will use to give points to the accomplished activities of your students, and of course, the references. So I would like to provide you again some examples of assignment guides. I'd like to show you the sample of the assignment guides that I will directly get from okay. So may I show you this one? This course is being offered now here in St. Louis University. And I'm really very happy that our professors, syempre, headed by the team of Ma'am Silva, Dr. Bambico, Sir Marlon, and we also have Sir Gingino, sila yung nag-develop nito. Ngayon, kung ito ay naka-save sa Google Drive, if you're going to give this to your students, if it's online-based, syempre naka-arrange siya ng tama. At kung ibibigay natin ito through the USB, dapat na maayos din yung kanyang folder. So for example, for this specific course, ang course na ito ay People and the Ecosystem, something like that. Okay, so we have here all the different guides. Okay, so for the entire course, we have all of this arranged. Now, I made mention that one of the things that you need to prepare as a teacher are videos. So we have here some videos that the students will have to watch at naka-describe. So marami silang kinuha mula sa YouTube and so on, okay? Because there are, of course, very good videos that you were able to get there. And we're very happy that CHED, of course, are collecting also some materials that we can share through the CHED OER. So galing ang mga ito sa OER. Pero syempre, effort din po ang maghanda ng mga ito. Hindi pwedeng basta sabihin ng mga bata, ay nandun pala sa YouTube. Nandun sa YouTube, but a lot of instructions are, of course, provided before even watching the video and so on. So it's very important that before you will let the students watch a video, there are a lot of prompts and then there are a lot of questions that you will have to ask before and after and so on. Aside from that, we also have the self-developed teacher audio presentations. Okay, so for this one, for example, it's a multimedia presentation for Module 1 and 2. And if you will see this one, may recordings na rin po siya. So audio-visual po ang materials ng mga teachers. And this is their personally made interactive multimedia presentation. Not everything that you will show to your students should come from YouTube. Kasi ang sasabihin nila, YouTube University, ako graduate. Okay, baka sabihin nila, wag na lang akong mag-enroll, lahat naman ay nandun pala sa YouTube. So tingnan po natin dahil dapat we need to make our presentation more personal for our students. So the course learning package, ito yung parang pinakahalimbawa ng isang course learning package. Meron kang video, meron kang teacher audio presentation, you have all the study guides. Okay, so for example, for study guides, for the very first study guides na pinresent nila, ito yon. So, try nating tingnan ang una. Okay. So, ito yung sabi ko kanina. The very first part should be that you should have a clear instruction of the output. For Module 1, you are expected to answer, etc. May rationalis siya, meron siyang materials, may specific guides, naka-UUU ang sinasabi, go straight to the point, and then yung rubric, until the last one, tapos, kung halimbawa, meron naman siyang internet connection, i-click lang niya yan. And then we have module 2, we have the output, the rational, and so on. So, alam niyo ang gagaling ng ating mga teachers talaga dahil in 1 week only, they were able to develop all of these materials. Because I know na all of us naman, we've been teaching the courses for many years already. So, what we need to do is just to contextualize them in the different modalities for flexible learning. So, we also have here assignment guide to. So, nandiyan dyan yan, you and the world you live in. So, nandyan lahat yan, kompleto din. Of course, it's very important na meron tayong sariling format. Mahirap namang wala tayong ka-format. Okay? So, these are the 2 major assignments. And then we have here yung course guide na katulad din kanina. Okay? So, course guide ito ng subject nga na hindi optics kundi people in the Earth's ecosystem. Okay? And then we have, of course, yung ating final requirement guide. So, one of the requirements, hindi yung mga unit requirements. Okay, balik tayo sa mother folder. So, those are the assignment guides. Now, ito din yung modules nila for correspondence. Meaning, ibinigay lang sa akin ito kasi sinasubmit nila lahat. So, for correspondence 1, module 1, module 2, kasi iba yung pag-prepare mo kapag ka-online. Yung sa online, yung sa gamit mo ang LMS, siyempre links ang ibinibigay mo. But if it is a correspondence-based module, kailangan talagang siguraduhin mo na tama yung pagkakapresent mo. So this is the format na nandun yung course learning outcomes, siyempre maglagay ka ng mga picture, tapos nakalagay po dito, this is property of SLU, exclusive for SLU, kaya hindi ko ma-share po ito. So dapat nakikinig po kayo. Okay, so makikita natin dyan, maraming salamat sa mga magagaling na mga professors na ito na gumawa nito. And then you have the table of contents, okay? So doon sa course guide, nabanggit natin ito, but this is the actual module, okay? Now, St. Louis University was able to follow the 5E constructivist model. And ito yung sa module 1, this is the course learning outcomes of module 1. And then we have here, of course, the engage. And you need to read what do we exactly mean by engage. It's actually to let the students, of course, feel about the essence of what the unit is all about. And then we have here the explore. So it will really pay if you're going to read the different instructional designs. And then, so this is how you're going to format it later. I'm going to show you an example, yung galing naman sa basic ed. Paano naman ginagawa ito sa basic ed na ang meron tayo doon ay yung mga content standards, performance standards, and ngayon yung mga identified na mga most essential learning competencies. Okay, so this is for the first module. Following, of course, yung ating instructional design. And following all the guidelines in writing a module. So my explain part, we need to remember in my discussion with you last time, we need to make use of visual icons, visual cues, aside from using active voice and not passive voice, and many other information that I was able to give in our previous training. So after explain, you have, of course, some other activities, and that is, okay, tingnan lang natin Siyempre, kailangan yung mga copyright laws, i-consider natin ang mga yun. Like, there are percentages that we can actually, that we are allowed to only get. Because if we will go beyond the percentages, like for example, 10% out of the information from a cell or spreadsheet, or 10% or 5 images that you will get from a website, you can cite the owner, but if you will go beyond that, you need to ask permission already from them. So all of these laws are very important, and maybe there must be a session that Ched will prepare for us to be guided about copyright laws. And then we have the elaborate, and then of course we have the evaluate, which is the last part of it. Okay, so pasensya kasi pinapakita ko lang. At least ma-imagine po ninyo ang kanyang itsura, especially if you're going to organize it po in a folder that you're going to, of course, give to your students. Kung hindi man siya ipiprint. So, nandito yung evaluate. So, the evaluate part here is for the unit activity or assessment. Of course, your references. Okay, so, this is just one. Because for this course, they have how many modules? 6 modules. And then, of course, you need to have a very good cover page. Okay, and the cover page, this one was developed by our quality assurance office. So lahat po ng aming mga material, ganyan po ang kanyang itsura. Okay? So that's for that. And I'll go back to, for example, answer sheets. So this is still part of assessment. For Module 1, yung mga answer sheets, for correspondence-based, you need to see to it that the layout is very good. I was able to discuss this one with you. That you need to provide spaces for the students to write their answers. The spaces that we're going to provide will define, of course, and will prompt the mindsets of our students if they need to give only brief statements or brief answers, or if you have very wide spaces, they will already be prompted to think that mahaba ang nire-require mo. So, depende sa pagkakaayos mo po yan. So, this is one of their answer sheets. And then, for Module 2, ganyan din po. So, mapapansin ninyo na yung arrangement, kung inilalagay nyo yan sa USB, klarong-klaro, hindi po malilito sa estudyante. But you need to see to it that you will check, of course, kung hindi, ano ba yun? So, for example, for this one, for midterm exam, kasi nga, pang short term yan, syempre, idadaan ko lang ito dahil ngayon yan. So, meron silang midterm examination, okay? Ngayon, kung ito ay gagawin natin, yung multiple choice, if you're going to deliver it via correspondence, of course, it's already embedded in the print module. Okay? Ngayon, yung doon naman sa ating LMS, syempre, ang gagamitin mo, if you're using Google Classroom, gagawin mo siya sa Google Form. So, yun yung difference. So, we also have here the final exam. Okay? So, that's for one course only. And then we have also other resources. So you need to provide them some resources. Okay, like for example, all of these resources are actually provided in the LMS. So dapat may portion po kayo ng resources. So let me, for example, show you an example of a course that we have now. Ang training namin, so halimbawa, so kung Google Classroom ka, di dapat may resources ka sa baba. So for example, in our training for distance learning with our faculty, nilagay ko dito yung mga resources. Like for example, we have the open educational resources given by the Commission on Higher Education. Dapat nakikita yan ng bata. So makikita po natin may DepEd Commons, may UPOU, may Educare. Nasaan ba yung SATSHED dito? OER. Lahat pala ito, kinuha ko mismo sa SATSHED. Migrate ko lang dyan. Okay? And then for those coming from DepEd, for example, ang aming training nga kasi ay tungkol sa paggawa ng mga materials. So I was able to provide them ito, na guidelines and processes for developing material. So for a specific course, if the course is this one, okay? So the course is on developing distance learning materials. Okay? So this is an example of how we're going to develop all of our materials. Not only that, you know what? Google Drive is also very important, or OneDrive in Microsoft, okay? So, all of these were shared to me. Not only this one, actually, we also have, for example, from Dr. Wakat. Para lang makita po ninyo yung mga ginawa nilang mga sample, nagpaalam po ako sa kanila at alam po nila na it's always is the responsibility of St. Louis University, a center of excellence in teacher education, to share. But of course, we're not going to send to you all of our materials kasi may mga copyright din yan. Okay? Makita nyo lang po yung ating format. So for St. Louis University, for example, for our course, we have a course na ang tawag natin ay G-Art in SLU. So this is a Gen Ed course. And today, we're offering it this short term. So we're offering it for our medtech student and for our students in engineering. So kung i-click ko itong sa engineering, meron kaming module for architecture, meron kaming module for civil engineering, meron kaming, dalawa lang pala. So architecture and civil engineering. Ngayon, dahil nga sa nakakontextualize, di ba, dapat ang ating Gen Ed. Kaya, iba yung lengguwahe din or examples kung architecture ang iyong mga estudyante. So, for architecture, so nandiyan dyan yung kanilang course guide din. So, makikita din natin na sinundan pa rin naman po ng group yung PDF cover. So, yan. Ang title ay Art Appreciation. Hindi ko kasi na-memory yung mga title. And then, we have, for example, here an example of an assignment guide. Okay. Papadaanan ko lang yan. Nakikita ninyo, merong output, rational, meron din siyang evaluation tool, mga specific guidelines, and so on, given to our students. So we have here the module for the midterms, G-Arts, ganyan po. And then, so 104 pages po lahat yan. Magaling po yung pagkakagawa at meron din siyang, syempre, sinundan din nila na may engage siya, na-identify din yung learning outcomes, explore, explain, elaborate, evaluate. O, yun po. Mabilis, di ba? Module kasi ngayon ito. Okay. And then, you will have here, of course, the different activities. So, sabi natin, dapat may video material. So, syempre, meron din silang video. During our previous activity, nagpakita ako sa inyo ng video for purposive communication. Okay? So, ito yung mga ilang videos po na kanilang ginawa na hindi ko na po bubuksan dahil nakapagbigay ako in the past ng mga samples. So, that is for architecture. Okay? So, dapat po naka-arrange yung ating mga folder. Mag-ingat din po tayo sa pag-share ng ating mga folder to our colleagues. If we have administrators here and we would like to check, for example, what are those that are being submitted by our faculty, let's just be very careful. So this is for the G-Art course. So this is for civil engineering. So iba din yung mga activities sa kanila dahil naka-contextualize po. Kaya alam nyo talaga ang effort ng ating mga teachers to give justice, of course, to the fees of our students. Puyat po ang pinaggagawa ng ating mga teachers. Okay, so sa MedTech, yan po din yung kanilang mga activities which they were able to share po to me. So meron din kaming sa history, sa purposive communication, life and works of Rizal, understanding the self. Ito po yung sa understanding the self. Sa ngayon, it's being offered this semester to the School of Engineering and Architecture in Stella. And I know that many of you who are attending this seminar are parents of our students, so that you will understand also how these are, of course, are being done in our university. Thank you for trusting po St. Louis University. Kasi baka malito yung mga anak ninyo kung ano ba talaga, bakit yung kabila iba. Dahil nga sa depende sa program learning outcomes po natin. So if I am a student for teacher ed, syempre iba yung mga isusulat nilang examples, iba din yung mga assessment activities. As I said, because they should find meaning in what they are doing. So that's an example for assessment. Okay, so I'll stop sharing this one and I'll go back to my original slide. Okay, so that is for assignment guides. I was able to show you already the parts of a unit of a module. So ano ang importante po? That as an institution, we should know exactly the instructional design that we're going to follow. For St. Louis University, we follow the 5E constructivist instructional design. And we have all of these designs. So you can just read and go over them. Ano yung komportable po sa inyo and rationally as to why. Ang importante ma-translate po natin ito because we do not just prepare modules without really going over the different instructional designs in the theories. And that's the reason why, for now, our teachers are wearing a lot of hats actually. Aside from being a teacher, aside from being an author, aside from being a media producer, because they need to produce videos, interactive multimedia presentation, they are also instructional designers, okay? So for example, if you want, you may follow this one, the 9 events of instruction by Robert Gagne. Like the first part of your material will be to gain attention. So there are activities that you can, of course, place there to gain their attention and come up with the title in gaining the attention, okay, of your students translated in your module to inform them of the learning objectives, and then acknowledge the prior learning, engage what they know, their past experiences. These are actually falling under the engage part of the 5A constructivist model. And then after that, you present the main content. This is the centered teacher part of our 9 events of instruction. This is in the present content. This is when you show them already the video presentation, or this is when you already discuss with them in the LMS anything that you'd like to discuss asynchronously or synchronously, and then and so on until you will be able to finish the 9 events of instruction by Gagne. Okay, so this is what you may follow in developing your module. Kanya-kanyang ano po yan, decision yan. Maganda rin naman po yung, how do you call this one, institutional. So this is what we were able to follow, the original 5E constructivist. Because we have actually the 7E na hinango lang naman nila doon sa 5E constructivist. In the 7A, nagdagdag, ang inuna nila illicit bago engage. Okay? Tapos meron pang idinagdag na extend. And then maybe we can, like for example, present it especially for our courses na puro inquiry-based, like we can have these parts, like for example, merong I wonder, I investigate, I record, I discover, I think, I try, I reflect. Or pwedeng magsimula sa I reflect, I wonder. So pwedeng ito din yung parts po ng ating mga modules, especially for courses na inquiry-based ang gusto nyong masundang cycle. Okay? And then, we have some of our examples sa Basic Ed. I'd like to show you. Ito po, nag-training kami noong Monday and then sinubmit nila kahapon. So I asked permission from them and we're really very happy that they were, mga graduates din kasi namin, mga produkto ng Teacher Ed, yung mga kinausap ko na pwede bang i-share ko ang pagiging handa ng ating mga laboratory schools. Our laboratory schools, they are of course part of our training program in the School of Teacher Education and Liberal Arts. So we're also very happy that our cooperating teachers are helping them very well so that they were able to come up also with our presentations. That's the reason why DepEd actually, the DepEd, ini-invite po sila also to help other DepEd schools to demonstrate how this is to be done also in their context. So may invitation na po sila kahapon. Okay, so I'll show you po yung sample po ng Basic Ed, kung paano naman po nila ginawa. Kasi syempre para lang ma-imagine po natin kung paano nga ba yung paggawa naman nito kung tayo ay nasa Basic Ed. Okay. Buksan ko lang po ah. Saan ba yung isa? Okay. So this material was developed by our fresh graduate in the person of John Michael, syempre guided by their principal and assistant principal, Dr. Balmeo and Sir Gutierrez. Okay, so happy pa rin kami na sila ay mga fresh graduate namin and they were able to develop a very good learning package. So ito ay space racks. And then makikita po ninyo na nandito, kasi sa atin sa higher ed, meron tayong course learning outcomes. In DepEd, they have of course a very clear presentation of the performance standard and content standard. Tapos syempre kung ikaw ay magde-develop ng inyong material, ito na nandito na yung most essential learning competency, tapos yung performance task, dapat klaro. Okay? So ito po yung mga ilang presentation nila ng activities. Makikita natin na very colorful siya. Okay? Dahil kailangan naman talagang ganyan po tayo kapag tayo ay nasa Basic Ed. Kahit din naman sa postgraduate, ma-appreciate ito kung ganito yung material na ibibigay natin sa grad school. Papakita ko lang po ah. So may introduction siya. So ito yung nasundan po nila. So makikita natin yung sa una, formative assessment. Okay? And then, introduction para naiintindihan ng bata. Nakikita din po ninyo na first person ang ginamit based on our instructions sa day 1 noong Monday. So, meron silang mga existing material. Ang ginawa nila, sinundan lang po nila yung talagang kailangang gawin natin na detailed ang instruction. And then we have here this one in the discussion. We have here the most essential learning competency. Kabibigay lang actually ito ng ng DepEd. And then engage. Kasasabi lang naman namin ito noong Monday and they were able to do it. So I know na kayang-kaya nating lahat. Okay? So ganyan po siya. Papakita lang natin yung layouting. Importante po yan. So kapag yung estudyante ay online siya, syempre, pwedeng gagamitin niya itong QR code. At pwedeng ikiklik niya ito. Paano kung hindi naman online at correspondence-based? Syempre, hindi mo gagawin ito. I-provide mo na diretso doon sa folder sa USB. Okay? So, yun yung difference po niya. Pero hindi pwedeng iba ang inaaral doon sa kabila, iba yung inaaral sa kabila. Contextualize po, yun yung tinatawag natin na accommodation for differentiated instruction. So ipapakita ko lang naman yung kanyang format, explain, and then, and so on. Ito yung sabi ko nga na pinakamas mahaba dahil nga yung explore at saka explain teacher-centered po yun. And then may practice sila. Okay? So, yan po ang ating presentation from junior high school. So, may mga quizzes din po at performance tasks. So, kailangan klaro po. Remember our discussion on, etc., etc. So, may mga summary din at the end of every unit. So, ito ay 1 unit of the entire module. So, ibig sabihin, marami pang ihanda si teacher. Ito lang naman yung isa sa hinanda niya to meet our requirements that there is something that they should submit at the end of our training. Kasi walang, ano ang training kung walang isa-submit, okay? I like to show you another example ng produkto ng ating mga teachers in, that's for high school. Yung ipapakita ko ngayon ay, sa ano naman tayo? Isa sa mga graduate din namin, I think she is from Region 1, si Miss Espino. Pero teacher po namin siya ngayon sa laboratory because of course, ini-employ po natin ang ating sariling mga graduates. Okay? So, si Miss Espino po, maraming salamat po sa mga taga-Region 1 na ipinagkatiwala ninyo siya sa amin kasi ang alam ko talaga, may dalawang magkapatid sila nung naunang si Miss Espino na galing po dyan sa inyo. Okay, so, ito ay sa mathematics naman niya. So makikita ninyo na mayroon tayong learning outcomes, content standards, at saka ito po, meron tayong formation standard na sa elementary naman ito. Dahil siyempre, kung in St. Louis University tertiary level, we have what we call the institutional outcomes at yun yung mga missionary, yung dahilan kung bakit ang SLU ay nandyan for the CICM. So yun po, kahit na meron tayong tinatawag na most essential learning competencies, as an institution, hindi po pwedeng mawala kahit na sa anumang modality ang formation. So, for this one, naglagay po siya si Ms. Espino ng formation standard through the help of the principal na taga Region 1 din po. Ang aming principal, maraming salamat kay Sir Pablico. Okay? Natinrin din niyo po siya sa Region 1. So, meron tayong engage. Although our participants here in our webinar, hindi lahat po ay taga Region 1, but this was organized by Region 1. Thank you, Region 1. So makikita natin na very colorful pang grade 2 po siya. So sana kapag kagagawa tayo, ay ganito po kasi ang ganda. Kasi nagagandahan talaga ako. Fresh graduate lang namin ito. Isa siya sa mga sumama sa, kasi may mga taga-PAFTE rito sa SEMEO project natin na International Exchange Students in Thailand. Okay, so yan po yan. Okay. So, di ba, may mga spaces. So, this was discussed with you during my first meeting with you na you need to see to it that you provide spaces for the children to provide an answer. Okay. What is very good also in this material is, of course, yung mga reflection time. Dear parents, ito po. Ask the following questions to your child and allow him or her to express himself or herself freely without interrupting. Sa tertiary po, walang ganyang dear parents kasi talagang highly independent based on Philippine Qualifications Framework. Pero pag grade 2, ay hindi naman po pwede talaga. So mayroon tayong homeschool partnership. So yung magulang, siya ang magbibigay ng guidance sa bata. So this is the time when we will really practice our being parents to our students. Okay? So may mga instructions sa mga magulang and then may evaluate. Now that you have proved to me how well you understood our lesson, let's try to check your overall understanding by performing the following activities. O di ba? Very colorful na may mga waking up time, right inside the box, and so on. Okay. And then, syempre, we have here our schedules. And kung ito ay halimbawa, nagkaroon ng time na nagkaroon sila ng internet connection, ito, you may try these online games to enhance more your skills in reading and writing time. Siyempre, hindi mo naman gagraduhan ito. For enhancement lang. So, meron silang wrap up, and then, congratulations. So, importante po yung mga ganyan. Pwede bang idagdag din yan sa kolehiyo? Siyempre, pwede. Okay? In your references. Now, this is one very important part of this material. Okay, dear parent, kindly evaluate honestly your child's performance in accomplishing the activities in this module. And then, naulit niya yun. Kasi nga kahapon lang niya sinabmit ito at 2 araw lang na pinagawa sa kanila. Please put a check on the line before the indicator that is applicable. So makikita natin dito na in the activities for this module, my child or my ward finished the activities entirely on his own, needed a little help from me. This data is also very important for the schools to know on how they will help the parents and so on. Kasi alam naman natin, may mga bata tayo na halos sila lang ang gumagawa, grade 2 sila because of some family circumstances. And these are very important for academic purposes. So this is from Miss Espino. I'm going to show naman an example sa Filipino version sa mga nagtuturo po ng Filipino or mga courses that the language of instruction that's being used is Filipino. Another product from one of our graduates, hindi naman masyadong fresh, na graduate natin na in-employed din naman po ng SLU, ay mula kay Miss Taktay. Isa siya sa top performing student ng buong Pilipinas nung kanyang panahon. Na-interview din po siya sa EBS. Sinasabi ko lang po bilang acknowledgement, okay? Sa kanila because they were willing na okay lang po for us to help each other. So, may I open that of Miss Taktay? Maganda kasi yung nakakita kayo. Siyempre, Filipino siya. Pero paano ginawa o isinalin? How did Miss Taktay translate to the use of the Filipino language yung kanyang engage, okay? Siyempre, alam na natin yan, pamantayan pang nilalaman, pamantayan sa pagganap, etc. And then pamantayan sa pagpapahalaga referring to the formation standards. So, for example, for the engaged part, ito meron siyang essential terminology, siguro babaguhan na niya ito at yung pagbabahagi, that was how she was able to contextualize in the Filipino language yung word na engage, okay? And then, syempre, paggalugad, that is for the explore, di ba? So, pwede po natin gawin yan. And then, pagpapaliwanag, that is the explain. If it's in the university, syempre, mas mahaba yan. Pero dahil ito pang grade 2 din yata, yes, pang grade 2 ito. So, pagpapaliwanag at pagpapalawak, so pwede po, ganyan. Salin lang po natin. And then, pagtataya, so that's for the evaluation and so on. So, this is from Miss Taktay. And then we have, of course, the evaluation tool. And then the summary and so on. And then we also have here, of course, the parents, guardians, comments, if they were able to help the student or not fully. Okay? So that is for our example ng isang module. So may I go back again to my original presentation. Diba? Kayang-kaya natin yan. Or mas marami kayong magaganda, pwede rin i-share ninyo at we will participate also in your sharing because we always learn from the practices of every institution. So if we already have yung module kanina, we already have our, for prints, we already have our assignments guide, our assessment guides, and our course guides, study schedules, etc. As I said, it's very important that we'll prepare an interactive multimedia presentation that will support our print materials. So this interactive multimedia presentation must be given to our students regardless of the modality, and we can be very creative as to how to do it. Okay, so we need to remember that because of all of these provisions in using technologies, like we can have text, we can have audio, we can have video, and with the use of the computers and with the use of the internet, we can do all of these ones: presentation, demonstration, drill and practice, interaction, collaboration, and many others. So later, I'm going to show you some examples of PowerPoint presentations in the use of the LMS, or the Learning Management System, which is, of course, is internet-based. Okay? And that is what we're actually using in our presentation. We just need to remember that technology is used to meet learning outcomes, not used for its own sake. So there is a need for us to balance. And that's the reason why we've been discussing about TPAC, okay? Technological, pedagogical, content knowledge. We cannot just have technology, but we do not know how to use the technology. There is no technique of how to use it. And then, even if you know how to use it, if you don't know exactly your content, so there must be a mastery of all our disciplines. The best technology to use is not necessarily the most sophisticated technology. We have a lot of LMS. Pero kung ano ang kaya ng institution, so hindi naman kailangan mag-subscribe po tayo ng mga mamahalin kung marami namang mga free LMS na pwede naman nating gamitin. But the technology that helps meet the learning outcomes and is available and is accessible to teachers and students. So later, I'm going to show you one of the LMS na accessible nga sa China. Hindi accessible yung mga ibang LMS. So ano ba yung accessible sa kanila? Or to the parents or to the students. Okay, so another principle is that our interactive multimedia presentation should be self-instructional. If you will recall, when you were facing your students face-to-face, siguro okay lang naman na wala kayong mga naka-insert na mga assessments in the different slides because you're going to do that prior to presenting to them your PowerPoint presentation. But for this one, it's the students who should appreciate your multimedia presentation. So it should be self-instructional, like they know or they should know how to explore the different parts of your slides or of your presentation or of your LMS. And then they should be guided as to how to use the different materials within that platform that you are using. Scaffolding is also very important. So we need to give, of course, sufficient guides and materials for them. Like, for example, how will I go to Google Classroom? How will I register? How will I click this one? So all of these things are very important to guide our students. And we've been already reading a lot of materials being shared by CHED and being shared by DepEd. Like, for example, how will I register to Zoom, etc. And of course, if it's an interactive multimedia presentation, like for example, a PowerPoint presentation, it should have formative assessment activities also prior to us giving the summative assessment. Okay, so I will of course present to you again some examples so that you will be able to visualize how these are. So after presenting to you some samples of LMS, I will present to you some samples of interactive multimedia presentation. Okay? So, nag-a-acknowledge na ako kaagad, wala pa. Because I need to give justice to our topic. So, I'll show you a sample of some LMS that you can use. Yung ibibigay ko po na sample, yung mga actual po na ginagamit ko in my class. Okay? So, let me show you, like for example, this one. So, I did not start immediately using Google Classroom. I started using Edmodo, that is in 2008 or in 2007. And then after that, I shifted to Schoology kasi parang nakita ko na mas okay siya. And then biglang ang St. Louis University may subscription po sa Google Suite application. So ito yung mga different classes. Yung sa training namin, so meron kaming mga batches and so on. So makikita ninyo dito yung mga subjects. Itong Waves and Optics, sinare ito sa akin ni Ma'am Dorothy para lang makita ko kung paano nila ino-organize ang kanilang klase kasi importante po yan. But what I will share with you is, yung pinakita ko yung kanyang course guide, ito yung technology for teaching and learning. Kasi maraming mga taga-teacher ed po dito because one of your partner, CHED, is Prof. Teddy po ba? Sila yung nag-organize dito. So, if I'm going to develop and organize, like for example, using Google Classroom, Google Suite, halimbawa, paano ako pupunta doon sa mga hindi pa masyadong na-explore? Sa mga nakapag-explore, very good po. But maybe, just to showcase sa ating mga may Google, dapat meron kayong Gmail, at in your Gmail, you just click this one, syempre, and then, you will see here all the different Google Suite applications that you can use. And of course, you will see here Google Classroom. Okay. So in the Google Classroom, if you're going to create something new, kasi developing nga ang ating lesson ngayon, you just need to click this one. And then you will join the class or create a class. So in my case, I was able, of course, to develop some of my classes for my students. So this is technology for teaching and learning. If you would like, of course, to meet your students, you can just generate Meet link, and all the students who will be enrolled in your class, you can actually have conference with them. Okay? So, marami po ang kakayan nito na ano ba yun, gawin for our students. So, This is the stream page, and this is where you make some announcements, and it will, of course, immediately inform them. But when you're going to organize your class activities, you just go to classwork, and then in the classwork, see to it that you will be able to organize well your presentation. Do not create a material na ang gulo-gulo, because at least on the left side of your interface, in the interface of your students, they will be able to see what will happen. And these are supposed to be with pacing. So as I said kanina, the schedule should be very clear to our students so that they will be guided and they will be prompted to be very conscious with this schedule, with their schedule. So for this one, meron tayong course orientation, June 4, at titingnan niya yung iyong syllabus. So sa akin, halimbawa, nandito yung ginawa namin with the Dr. Shin Ayaw na syllabus for the Commission on Higher Education. Our existing syllabus, of course, we need to reconfigure them to the modalities, because we have a lot of activities in our syllabus na pang face-to-face. So what I did was to reconfigure, of course, the syllabus for technology for teaching and learning too. And that is what I was able to provide dito sa course overview. So, kung ito ay ipapadala mo na correspondence, ipiprint mo lang naman ang mga ito. But for this one, of course, you still need to provide the information to your students, and these are supposed to be posted in your LMS. And then your course study schedule. So, titingnan po nila yan. Okay? So, yan po yan. And then, ang iyong online study schedule, nandiyan po yan. So, pinakita ko naman po ito sa inyo kanina doon sa print base, correspondence base. Okay. For Module 1, syempre nandiyan dyan, nakalagay sa schedule ko. Sample lang naman ito because actually ang aming TTL2 ay second semester. Okay, so June 3 to 10, 2020, so we have here the introduction, okay? In the module that I show, I did not show pala the actual module sa printout. So may mga spaces doon na kung saan magsusulat. But for this one, the introduction is an assignment. And then if we're going to see this one, nandyan po yung nakalagay yung mga activities. So i-introduce nung estudyante yung kanyang sarili. That is, I know, this is pala is the introduction of the course. Okay, not the self-introduction. And then I'll go back to the material again. And then we have here the learning outcomes. So naka-organize din siya according to the 5 E's. So for the learning outcomes, this will be read by the student. So this is the unit learning outcome. Siyempre, kinupya ko lang naman ito doon sa print material ko. And then, yung engage activity, for this one, my techie teacher, ito yung kumbaga doon sa 9 levels of instructional design ni Gagne, ito yung part ng prior knowledge. So my question here is, recall how your teachers in your field of specialization in this paragraph use information and communication technologies to help you understand some concepts in your lessons. Mga ganyan po. So kanila po itong sasagutin. Okay? So makikita po ninyo dito yung question ninyo, and then you will be able to see the answers of your students here. Kung nakasagot po sila. Okay? So that is for that one. And then next is the ICT skills survey. So yung ICT skills, ipapakita ko na lang mamaya yung version niya ng correspondence. Yung version kasi niya ng correspondence, syempre hindi siya nakalagay sa Google Form. Okay? So sa Google Form, dito natin ito makikita, dito natin ito ginawa. So like, let's say for example, makikita natin dito yung sasagutan nila na material. Pero yung pagkakabuo nito, ang gamit mo natin ay Google Form. So what you will do is just to, for example, go to create, and then you click, for example, here, quiz assignment. Okay, nandiyan po yan. And then you can just click Google Form. So dito sa Google Form, dito nyo bubuuin po yung inyong material, and immediately, lalabas po siya dito. Okay, so that's how we create. Siyempre, lalagyan nyo ng kung ilang points yan, or ang ungraded ba siya dahil formative. Nandito po ako sa right. Lalagyan nyo ng due date. Okay, kapag and then see to it na i-click po ninyo yung topic para hindi kung saan siya pupunta. Okay, ipakita ko lang po sa inyo. Let's say for example, shed, yung title. And then, hindi ko lalagyan ng topic, at lalagyan ko ng assign. Kung titingnan po natin yung ating, nandito siya sa taas, hindi napunta sa kahit na anong part ng module. Kasi, hindi ko siya nilagyan ng topic. na kung ito ba ay topic na module 1, topic na module 2. So I need to go back again and then edit this one, go to edit, and then I'll put there the topic. Halimbawa, sabihin ko na this is topic number 5, module 5, and then isi-save ko, makikita natin sa interface na napunta na siya dito sa module 5. So nandito na po siya, yung ginawa ko kanina. So that's how you do it. So sa platform po ng Google Classroom, ang pinakalaging magandang gawin ninyo ay unahin po ninyo yung topic. So let's say for example, I am going to develop a new class. Create a class, and then SHED 101. Siyempre, lalagyan ko ng section, ng ganyan, etc. You can just complete this one. But for the sake of yung arrangement ng ating mga module, kailangan naka-arrange siya ng maayos. And then, you go to classwork, and then you go to create. Okay. And then, ang magandang unahin po natin ay topic. Okay. So, orientation. Ganyan. And then, i-add mo yan. And then, yung unang module. So, go to this one and then module 1. Ang maganda kasi sa Google Classroom, halos lahat tayo sa Pilipinas ay we can naman come up with we can just sign up for our Gmail account. Siyempre, hindi ka magkakaroon ng Google Classroom kung wala ka namang Gmail account. And then module 2. And then, i-add mo lang yan. And then, what you can just do is to arrange it. Like, for example, pwede namang ang orientation doon sa taas, i-click mo lang yan, and then dapat mauna ito. Okay? And then, mag-add-add ka na lang ng assignment, ng quiz, ng mga material. So, yun po yung pwede nating gawin in using Google Classroom. Ngayon, paano naman po sa Microsoft 365? So, halimbawa, sa Microsoft 365, meron tayong free na subscription. Katulad din naman ng Google Classroom, you can just go to Office 365. May free po yan at very familiar naman kayo dito. So ano ang pwede natin gawin? Ito sa class notebook po. So i-click lang naman po ninyo ang class notebook na yan. And then you can of course create a class notebook. Susundan nyo lang ang lahat ng mga yan. And then for my case, for example, I was able to create for my students sana for the PhD. Kaso I had to shift to Schoology dahil nga sa may problema tayo sa connection sa China. So that is being inclusive also. So I have my welcome here, and then may pag-welcome po sa kanila, o yung mga mag-e-enroll po sa ethical decision making po sa inyo, naka-online, ano ba yon? Maraming mga nanonood dito ng mga estudyante natin sa graduate school. I hope na you are able to join already also our classes. So we have also our course guide here. So this is my course guide. Kung print material, syempre naka-print yan. Okay. And then I have here also my study schedule with them. So this is my study schedule with my Chinese students. And then, syempre, meron yung sa collaboration space. So, titingnan nyo lang po dito. Mag-add ka ng section dito sa baba, page. So, explore nyo lang po. If you are very good in one LMS, natatranslate lang din naman yung skill mo sa kabila. Dahil wala namang nagturo sa akin kung paano gumawa sa Schoology, paano gumawa sa one class notebook. Alam nyo, mag-google ka lang, malalaman mo na. Okay, so for example, for module 1, makikita ninyo yung arrangement pa din na may engage, may explore, yung mga ganyan po. So may module 2 tayo, may module 3, and so on. Okay? So this is for OneNote. And then yung sabi ko kanina na Schoology. So nung sabi na ang mga Chinese hindi maka-access sa Google Classroom, sa Microsoft. So, what I need to do is to go back to Schoology. Ang Schoology, free ito, hindi under the subscription of SLU. Ang subscription po ng SLU ay yung Google Suite application at saka yung ating Microsoft 365. But there is a free version ng mga yan. Siyempre, kapag subscribe, mas maraming classes ang pwede mong mabuo, mas maraming estudyante, and mas maraming features. Okay? Pero yung mga essential features, doable naman po siya. So, how are we going to organize this one? Hindi po ang Schoology, ino-organize po niya ang kanyang sarili according to the modules. I have a lot of courses actually in Schoology kasi matagal na po akong gumagamit nito. 2015 pa, so nandiyan yan. Noong 2015, disorganized pa ang aking puro ganyan ang aking mga pinagagagawa with my students. Hindi siya na-organize according to the module that I was showing kanina. But because I'm using this one for face-to-face, na parang kumbaga, support lang sa face-to-face instruction. Itong mga pinaggagawa ko with them sa Schoology. Pero, dahil nga sa, ang ating presentation ngayon ay dapat po na via the distance learning modality. So, yun ang dahilan kung bakit I had to organize my presentation ngayon, short-term 2019, through this one. So, what you may do is just to go to add material and then ilagay nyo per folder. Hindi yung basta create ng material dito na hindi po organize yung presentation. So, for example, may course orientation pa din, may module for midterms, and then may module po for final. So, i-click nyo lang po ulit ito. And then under this one, you have your course overview, you have your course guide, you have your study schedule. So, sa course overview, for example, I have this one. So, what they will just do is just to click this one, and then nandyan na yung course overview. Na kanina po, doon sa Microsoft 365, immediate po na nakikita po nila. So, this is the course overview ng aking mga graduate school students. Medyo nilalakihan ko ng ganyan kasi yung mga estudyante natin na Chinese ay kailangan din ng support at hindi yung parang sa atin sa Pilipinas na maliwanag yung mga maliliit na text if it's in English. Okay? So, I'll go back. And then, after yung course overview, alam din nila na they need to go to the course guide and then the course schedule. And then, going back to that, meron tayong folder ng for midterms. So, makikita natin dito sa midterms, di ba, importante na klaro sa estudyante natin kung ano yung Unit 1, ano yung Unit 2, ano yung Unit 3, kasi nga that's the entire module. Yung Unit 4, so for this module, I have the following units, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alam niyo po yung paghahanda ng mga ito, yung matutulog ka na lang ng 2 oras. Literal po yan. I was able to sleep the other night for 2 hours just so that I will be able to make sure that I will be able to present this one to my students. So that's the challenge among all of us educators to really sacrifice for our students. Because of course, nasa China yan, tapos antay ng ibibigay mo sa kanila. Mahirap naman na hindi natin ma-organize ng tama ang ating mga material so that not every now and then they will text us of what we need to do with them. So for example, for Unit 1, anong activities nila yan? So meron makikita ninyo dito sa Unit 1, nandyan pa rin kompleto yung engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. Okay? So self-introduction. Nakalagay dyan, welcome, yung mga ganyan, okay? So, it should be very specific. Dapat na, may tanong ako dito na, say something about who you are, you work, and the reason why you are enrolled in the PhD-led program in St. Louis University. May instructions ako na, limit it to 400 words only, kasi mahirap ang mag-check ng mahabang sinasabi. Tapos, dapat naka-embed ang inyong online discussion. Ano ba yon? So, halimbawa, ito, naka-embed po ang kanyang, nakikita ba natin? So, embedded yung ating scoring guide. So, that's our, I don't know if you are seeing the scoring guide kasi nakaseparate na siya na file. Okay? So, ito na, may sumagot na sa akin na estudyante from China. Thank you, my name is. So, sasagutin ko po yan mamaya. I'm really very happy that I was able to communicate to them ng ilang beses. Sa wakas, naka-receive na rin ako ng kanilang mga sagot kagabi lang ito. Okay? So, puyat-puyat din yan. Ganyan ang ating mga pagsasakripisyo sa ating mga estudyante. So, they are my students from China. Kompleto na sila. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Siyempre, ang gamit din sa kanila ay WeChat. Hindi pwede yung mga messenger, etc. So, kapag dalawa ang subject, actually, 2 subject po ito ngayon para sa mga Filipinos and para sa mga Chinese. Okay? So, ito yung mga challenges. Nako, 11. Malapit naman na ito, Sir Mel. So this is for module 1, and then syempre ito, ethical dilemmas, yun yung first. At the end of this unit, makikita din ninyo dito yung nandun na yung engage and others na kanilang gagawin. Okay? So, balikan ko nga yun para lang makita ninyo na yan po yung arrangement ng ating mga material. So, balikan natin yung unit 1. Nandyan yung explore. Okay. Halimbawa ito, nakalagay na, watch the following presentations about terminal in instrumental values. Papanoorin lang naman nila yan at saka pwede silang mag-ano dito. And then, doon sa susunod na part ay magbibigay ka na ng activity after they will watch it. Siyempre sa correspondence, ang gagawin mo ay i-download mo yung YouTube material na yan at ibigay sa kanila. And then, you have there the explain already after watching. And then, mag-i-elaborate na yung explanation on their own, applying it in the context of the Chinese schools. And then, evaluation part. So, this is how you may organize if you're using Schoology. Sa UPOU, ang gamit po ay Moodle. Sa De La Salle, I think it's Canvas. So, marami naman po tayong pwedeng maggamit. Pero ito yung mga common na ginagamit, especially if walang subscription ang ating universities. Okay? So, that is for that one. Now, last actually naman na ito, nagtitink yun na nga ako kanina, but I'd like to show you, kung ito naman ay interactive multimedia presentation, what are some of the things that we need to remember? So I will be showing to you an example of some of the products of my students also for interactive multimedia presentation. So may I open their material? Hindi pala lumabas yun. Ako, saglit lang ah. Buksan ko lang yung mga materials nila. We were saying a while back that when, for example, developing interactive multimedia presentations, we need to see to it that these are interactive and that we already have an embedded assessments within the different slides. And at the same time, it should get the attention of our students. So that is one thing that we need to remember. But apart from that, we need to see to it that we're going to provide some instructions as to how they will explore different slides of the presentation. Okay, and that it's the level of our material should consider, of course, the profile of our students should also consider the language that we're going to use for our material. So it should be something that's really simple if it's in the basic ed. Okay, so buksan ko na siya at pwede naman na. Okay. So one of the materials developed po by my students, matagal na ito in my EdTech class, is this one. Of course, our students, that's their interest. So kinakare natin dapat ang mga ganyan. And then, so that even if they're going to open it at home, they will be very interested to see it. Well, of course, it's very important that we recognize yung mga sources. And then immediately, meron siyang ano kaagad. Hindi yung title na integers. Dapat merong pang-opening na what integers are, yung mga ganyan, so that the student will be prompted to have an answer to this one. Okay? So, see to it na very interactive siya, na hindi yung kaagad-agad na nandiyan dyan yung mga information. So, this is how we can make use of it. And then, there is an explanation at the bottom because this material, bubuksan na lang po ng estudyante, especially if it's asynchronous. Like you're not going to explain this one to the students, or if not, you can of course record while explaining this one to your students. So pwedeng ganyan po. And then, sample lang po ng ano ito. Sample lang po ng very interactive siya na pipindutin lang naman ng estudyante because you should have an instruction earlier that they will have to click the slide in order for the following to be shown on slide. Okay? So, yan po yan. And then, we must, of course, see to it that it will have an application to the real-life scenario being experienced by our students. So, this is a very good material na kayang-kaya po natin gawin. Naging estudyante po tayo ng educational technology as teachers. We do not develop material. So for this one, di ba, sabi natin, the material should have an explanation as to how our presentation in terms of its content be applied in a real life scenario. Okay? So para na-imagine po nung bata. But of course, you can support this one with a recording. Nakalimutan ko lang na hindi nagpa-record sa mga estudyante for this one. Okay? And then, of course, you need to ask Thanksgiving. Okay? Mga ano ng mga yan, engineer and teacher in Thailand. Maraming salamat sa kanila. Okay, I'm going to show you another example. Actually, tinawagan ko siya, pinaalam ko kahapon. Fresh graduate siya, nag-a-apply. Actually, nakuha na yata siya dyan sa DepEd sa taga-Pangasinan din po siya. Sila yung mga pinili ko po na mga yung mga material po nila para makarelate kayo. Baka anak niyo po si Sigfred. Siya po ang may-ari ng material na next na ipapakita ko po sa inyo. Okay, it's a very simple material that he was able to develop in my EdTech class 1, relevant to interactive multimedia presentation. So I've been always asking them that you should put, of course, an initial question that will engage the students so that before proceeding to the next slide in the storyboard, ay merong mga ganyan. And then it should always be interactive. So, meron po siyang mga tanong dyan ng mga essential questions before proceeding po. So, yun yung sinasabi ko kanina na dapat na personalities po or characteristics of our interactive multimedia presentation so that if they're going to use it in their classes, have it be sent to the students, matutuwa naman yung mga estudyante na kinareer ni teacher ang kanyang pagtuturo. Okay? So, i-click lang naman po natin itong mga to and then we will have already an instruction here. Sabi ko kanina, dapat dahil gagamitin ito ng mga bata, you should have an instruction. So nakalagay dito, click the boxes on the right to explore. Hindi ko masyado mabasa dahil natatakpan. Content of this presentation. So ang mangyayari dito ay i-click ng bata ito based on the instructions. So discover, ayan. Click on the topic you want to view. Okay? So i-click natin yung topic na gusto nating maintindihan according to the instruction given by Sigfred. So ganyan po. And then and so on. Okay? So, next. Okay. Makikita din natin na meron siyang summing it up. And then, ito, yung may embedded siya na assessment. So, let's check your understanding. Give the correct analogy of the word. So, ipipress ito. So, may self-instruction po siya. Okay, and then, read the passage below and then proceed to the questions. Okay? So, analogy, ito ba ay incorrect daw? So, bumalik ka kung incorrect. So, ito ang tama. So, next question. Okay? Incorrect daw. So, dapat ito ang sagot. Okay? Next question. At wala akong tama. Hindi talaga ako science teacher. Okay? Next. Okay, incorrect na naman. Next question. Incorrect lagi. So, nakikita natin na ito yung mga pwede natin pong gawin for our students. Okay? Incorrect ulit. Okay. So, next. Kasi masyadong mahaba itong ano ni Keith. Okay. Congratulations. Please submit your score to the instructor or to me. Dapat ganun ang kanyang sinabi. Check. Thank you for viewing this presentation. So, okay, so sila ang mga, taga Ilocos po sila. Both are teachers of grade 10. Ito third year sila nung ginagawa nila ito. So ini-imagine po talaga nila na mag-a-apply sila dyan po sa inyo. Okay? So mga science majors, mga DOST scholar. Ang sabi niya kahapon, naka-apply na po siya dyan sa inyo po. Okay? Thank you, Sigfred, for this one. Demonstrating an example of a self-instructional na text. Kung bakit ito itinuturo din sa EdTech kasi nga we are accommodating students also who cannot come to classes because of some suspensions and many others. Hindi lamang po dahil sa ECQ. So yung mga self-instructional na mga presentations, pwedeng estudyante na mismo ang siyang mag-explore. Okay? Ng mga nasabing materials. Okay? So that's all. Lampas na ako ng 10 minutes. Kasi 2 hours lang po dapat. So marami pong salamat sa inyong pakikinig and I would like of course to once again acknowledge of course St. Louis University and of course all the modules that I was able to present to you were actually provided by our teachers, but at the same time the concepts as to how we were able to do all of these things were inspired also by the trainings that were given to us by Wordlings Philippines and by Intel Teach Philippines, but these are all facilitated by the Commission on Higher Education and of course by UP Diliman during our trainings for all of this. So, marami pong salamat. So, back to you po, sir.
Agyaman kami unay, Dr. Speake. You know, my colleagues and I here in the studio, habang kami classroom. Thank you very much po.
Salamat din po. Pasensya na mabilis kasi nga kailangan nating tumulong
Yes,
at
tuwang-tuwa po
kailangan
kami
i-present
na
natin kung ano ang kaya nating i-present.
tuwang-tuwa po kami kasi na-cover niyo po from basic ed to tertiary at
Yes, kasi that's what we have in SLU po. Basic ed to graduate school.
yes. Ma'am, before
Okay.
we go to the question and answer, para medyo makapag-rest po kayo ng konti, magsha-shout
Yeah.
out lang po ako sa ating mga viewers. I will not be mentioning their names, of course, because say hello to our audience from the National Capital Region, Quezon City, Marikina, Makati, Parañaque, Caloocan, Taguig, Navotas. We have our friends from Cordillera Administrative Region, Benguet State University, Ifugao State University, our friends in Bontoc, na yung bagabigat kada kayo amin. We also have friends from Palawan, Batangas, Iloilo, San Pablo, Laguna, Rizal, Naga, Quirino, Palawan, Cabanatuan, Calapan City, Bukidnon, Agusan del Norte, City in Davao. We also have in Pagadian, Cagayan de Oro, Tacurong, South Cotabato, Quezon, Angeles City, our friends in Region 10. Of course, our friends from Region 1, Pangasinan, Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, and La Union. And we have our friends from Canada who are also watching us live. And of course, this is made to you possible by CHED Regional Office 1 in partnership, of course, with our PAFTE Region 1 chapter, headed by our PAFTE chair in the region. All right. So, ma'am, again, thank you. Hindi pa po tayo tapos. On behalf
Yeah.
of our regional director, Dr. Galera, we would like to present to you our certificate of uh, appreciation, recognition. Pero bago yan, punta muna tayo sa first question po. From Ms. Kimberly Gay Tamayo, examples, books, journals, websites, etc. May I ask how to avoid violations of especially if we intend to register it for copyright? Ayan, book author po si Ma'am Felina. She can answer this question.
Sir, kindly pakita nga yung question, sir.
Right? Let's flash the question again. May
Wala po
ensure
ako
that there is no violation of intellectual property rights if they wish
okay.
to register their outputs po.
Yeah, if you will wish to register your output, make sure na you are guided by copyright laws, and there are a lot of materials that we can actually search from the internet to make sure that you will be safe for that material that you're going to develop. Because like as I said kanina, there are certain percentages that you are allowed only to get in terms of text or in terms of some information from a spreadsheet or in terms of the number of photos, for example, from a website, yung mga ganun po. So, tingnan po natin yung mga guidelines na ganun because there are some na they will actually tell you that for educational purposes, pwede pong gamitin ninyo. But if your intent is to earn money out of it, may mga ano talaga dyan, pinagbabawal. So let's just be very careful and be guided. So maganda rin talaga na magkaroon din ng training siguro tungkol sa copyright laws, especially if our intent is not to share it to our students, but have it be published already by publishing companies.
All right. Our next question is from Sir Julsen Lucio Van Scopite. Okay, from Caroline Hizon. Dr. Speaker, how is a prepared by teacher from curriculum guide readily available from CHED?
How is the curriculum guide that you will be prepared by teacher? How is the curriculum guide that you presented will be prepared? The curriculum guide from the Commission on Higher Education, we have them, right? Like prior to coming up with your course syllabus, you should be guided already by the curriculum guide that you will develop. This was, of course, provided by CHED, but from the document of CHED, our institutional program learning outcome is not actually there. Because what we only have from them are the program learning outcomes. So we need to complete all the requirements to add our institutional outcome, the essence of our existence as an institution, and then the typology learning outcome also, like if you are a college, a university, which of course in St. Louis University, research-based university din po tayo. So we have that, and then we include that in the program learning outcomes of the PSG given to of the program learning outcomes identified in the PSG. And then after that, we do already the curriculum mapping. Okay? So after identifying that, we do the syllabus, right? But the syllabus that we have right now is actually a syllabus meant for face-to-face. So what we need to do is to reconfigure, especially the activities in the assessment column. Because as I said, non-negotiable po ang ating mga program learning outcomes, particularly yung course learning outcomes. But what we need to do is to make sure na despite the modality that we have, we need to make sure that our students will demonstrate that one. So medyo magkaiba yung activity mo na kung correspondence-based at magkaiba kapag ka-online. Example po, if you will say that you should be able to discuss this lesson with your classmates, they can do that po in the LMS if it's online, because they can have other classmates read their discussions, whether it's synchronous or asynchronous, any time of the day. But for a correspondence-based na mag-isa yung bata sa bahay, o kaya nandun yung bata at pwede naman niyang kausapin yung nanay niya, yung kanyang mga kapatid, pwedeng discuss this with anybody at home, and then whatever is the result of your discussion, have it be written in your module on page 17 to 18, mga ganun po. So, kumbaga, out of the syllabus that we have, i-reconfigure natin yan according to the modalities. And usually, ang nare-reconfigure po dyan ay yung portion ng assessment at saka yung teaching learning activities. At saka syempre yung tool. Sa mga old na syllabus natin, wala tayong nilalagay na mga productivity tools, yung mga ganun po. So, we are supposed to be guided po talaga by our curriculum guide. That's how I can answer the question. That's how I understood the question.
All right, ma'am. All right, ma'am, from Jerwin Mark Guillermo. You mentioned several models or theories that we can base the sequence and contents of our modules.
Okay.
Appropriate ones depending on the course.
Yeah, in St. Louis University, prior to itong flexible learning modalities, kanya-kanyang schools may kanya-kanyang sinusundan po na instructional design. So, some of our professors, they've been using the 7A. Some professors, like for example in the School of Nursing, ang kanilang instruction ay to use the ADDIE model, yung mga ganon. But for our students, not to be confused. Because like for example, in the School of Teacher Education and Liberal Arts, some of our teachers are serving in the different schools, and so that our students will be guided, and so that even our quality assurance office will know exactly what to require from the document. So, tiningnan namin kung ano yung model na magsuswak sa lahat po ng programs. Okay, so yun po yung basis namin. Ang isa sa mga ipinesent ko po ay yung NASA, kasi ang ginagamit po talaga nila ay yung original na 5E. And many of the samples of NASA in their distance ed program ay mga laboratory din po. So ang National Aeronautics Space Administration, some of their courses that they're offering are actually pang lecture or pang laboratory. So that's where I base also my recommendation when we were able to identify exactly kung anong instructional design. Maganda rin naman yung Ganye model. Kaso nga, because of the core learning outcomes na advisory po ng top management, ang sabi nila, i-target na natin yung core learning outcomes. So bago po lumabas yung most essential learning outcomes ng DepEd, meron ng advisory po sa top management namin na with our migration to another modality, let's target the core learning outcome. So if we will have the 9E, masyado pong marami yun, baka naman pwedeng yung dalawang learning outcomes isubsume ng isang learning outcome at ganun din po sa ating 5E constructivist. Lahat nung nandun sa 9 level, nasubsume din naman ng 5E. So, as a university, you can decide together. Yun po yung ano. Kasi may mga model tayo na magsuswak. Like for example, yung Kemp model, yung Azure model, may mga models doon na pang ano siya, pang at the level of the program, but not at the level of the unit. Yung parang kumbaga, pwedeng gamitin yung model na yun para sa isang unit of a specific lesson. So you can study all of those models po. Thank you.
Good morning po. This is from Mr. Tom Cruz regarding, or wait, there, from Mr. Nery Miguel. Good morning. We require demonstration and return demo from our students. What would you recommend po?
Okay. There are many ways on how we can do this one, especially that our students TikTok ng TikTok ang mga yan, they can maximize their skills sa TikTok sa demo. So they can just set their camera in a part of mag-home studio po yung mga yan sa bahay nila, hanapin ang pinakamabuti na pwedeng maganda yung lighting, and then they can already demonstrate. So somebody will help them, of course, na pindutin yung recording ng camera kasi kayang-kaya na yan ng ating mga estudyante. And then whatever is your requirement, i-demo po nila. So using the camera, syempre, hindi pwedeng ano ba yun, nagagawa nila sa TikTok pero hindi magawa sa demonstration. And what they will do is to save it and then have it be sent po to you. That's what they can do. Okay? Kasi pwede yun sa asynchronous.
All right.
Reliability and validity of the assessment. Okay, sa correspondence base, there are many techniques, and I would like to share with you one of the things na ginawa ng School of Natural Sciences when they asked me. So, paano kaya? Like, for example, we would like to make sure that our students, we are to maintain or being a top-performing medical medtech school. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, we need to meet the requirements of PRC na talagang multiple choice type of test ang ating ibibigay apart from the authentic assessments. Pag authentic assessment kasi yan, madali na alam mong ginawa nung bata. Tulad ng sabi ko, i-record niya ang sarili niya, i-describe niya. Paano naman po kapag sa correspondence ay multiple choice type of test? Okay. There are a lot of undertakings that we can actually provide in our course guide with our students. And one way to do that, for example, is to put po in an envelope, a separate envelope, yung ating 50 item na multiple choice type of test, nakasilyado po yan. And then, may instructions po tayo doon na you cannot open this envelope unless you are done already with module 1 and 2. That is for the midterms, for example. And then, you also have another envelope that will have the answer sheet, okay? At yung answer sheet na yun, nakasilyado din naman po siya. Tapos, sasabihin mo kung kailan niya bubuksan yung answer sheet, ayun ay kung natapos na niya. Kaya importante po talaga na ilagay natin sa utak at pag-iisip ng mga estudyante yung pag-practice po nila ng ating itinuturo sa ating institution na core values. Because ilagay natin na sila ang maso-shortchange, sila ang malulugi kung hindi sila ang gagawa. Dahil sino ba ang magtitik ng PRC exam kung hindi sila? So all of this. So we need to trust that our students, magpagkakatiwalaan yan, dahil may prompts tayo, sila ang malulugi, kung hindi nila gagawin ang mga ito, inuunahan tayo sa ating mga exercises. Because our students, I know that they have a good heart, they will do it on their own because they are the ones to take the board exam if it's a board course, or they are the ones na matcha-charge din naman kung malalaman at malalaman natin na hindi sila po yung gumawa ng activity. So all of this should be present in the prompts. Mga pangungonsensya po ang gawin natin. Alam ko po na it will work because distance learning is not something new. UPOU has been there for their basic ed for a very long time and they were very successful. Hindi naman nila pinagsususpetsahan na yung mga estudyante nila ay mag-cheat or whatsoever because they were able to provide a lot of prompts for their students, especially informing them about the sanctions that they will be facing if they will do patch writing or plagiarism and so on. And all of this should be part of our course guide. Thank you.
We go to our next question po. Okay po. Is there a standard part or part?
Okay, for a day. Pag correspondence-based kasi, mahirap kung hindi, mahihirapan ang bata, mahirapan din si teacher, at yung mga magulang kung talagang isiset mo na from this hour, 7:30 to 8:30 na parang face-to-face, because of the circumstances of our students. So we can of course put in our schedule the week 1, and then anytime at least alam niya kung ano yung kaya niyang gawin sa first day, second day, third day po ganon. In LES, in our laboratory schools here in our laboratory schools, particularly sa elementary po, nagbigay po nung guide ang aming mga learning area coordinator kung anong subject ang gagawin on the first day, anong subject ang gagawin ng bata second day, anong subject ang gagawin third day, fourth day, and fifth day. So that yung mga magulang guided sila. Magko-complain po ang mga magulang kung correspondence yan at talagang yung magulang dapat kasama niya yung anak niya ng 7:30 to 9:30, nag-work po ang mga yan. So ano ba yung doable in a week? Ganun po yun. At tayo po ang magbibigay ng schedule kung kailan natin pwedeng kausapin yung anak nila, paano tayo i-access kung may mga tanong, yung mga ganun po. So, mahirap yung mag-set ng oras, especially sa correspondence. Ang importante, yung naibigay natin yung activities for the whole week, they can do this any time of the day. Especially now we have erratic internet connection. So, asynchronous dapat po. Yung settings natin sa LMS natin, hindi rin maganda sa ngayon na nakaset siya na may oras talaga at yun lang ang panahon na kung kailan nila sasagutin yon. Aakyat yan sa bundok para lang makakuha ng signal. So that, like kung malakas ang signal niya ng gitna ng gabi, doon niya gagawin yung ating mga activities, doon niya i-download. So these are things that we can really do. Kaya nga flexible learning po yung tawag ng CHED. We should be very flexible considering the circumstances of our students, their context and their profile. Thank you.
All right, ma'am. The question is, please not actually a question, but asking for your comment on plans of some HEIs to give formative assessments, but only one summative evaluation per semester of a year, course, or subject po.
Okay. Maybe there are really courses that may require or that it's sufficient that you will have one big project or one big summative assessment. The danger there, according to principles of assessment, is parang minsanan lang and then bagsak ka na kaagad. For as long as siguro ginawa mo yung trabaho mo na you're able to see that in the formative assessment, talagang everybody is prepared in terms of content and in terms of skills, nagawa na niya at nakita mo na they were able to demonstrate already all the minimum requirements, and then you can have one big summative assessments, why not? Because that's the role of formative assessment. Yung alam mong handa na siya at talagang walang ni isa sa kanila babagsak because you're able to see that. But I think it's not healthy para sa akin po na one big lang ang ibigay natin na summative assessment at the end of the semester. So unless na very comprehensive po siya, na all the areas that you're able to teach and na-cover po niya. Pero kung mas higher yung probability na hindi sila papasa, dangerous po yun. But as I said, for as long as all the data that we will gather in the formative assessment will tell us that we were able to make our students ready to perform the summative evaluation, why not po? But still, it's recommended na hindi lang minsan lang ang summative for one subject, and that is to happen in one semester. Thank you.
We proceed to our next question po. Actually, this is not a question but a commendation. It says, thank you, Chat. Informative and enriching. All speakers are excellent. We agree with that. I share all these to all med schools for them to watch. Dr. Reyes, Chair of the TCME of the Commission on Higher Education. Technical committee po ito for medical education. So maraming salamat po for this recognition.
Thank you po, Dr. Reyes. Thank you, Ched.
With our questions. But before we proceed to the next part, for those who are requesting copies of the presentation of Dr. Spike, we cannot provide you with fiber of our Facebook page and our YouTube page, also our account. You can view the presentation again because this is a recorded session, so you can go back and replay our sessions. All right, at this point in time, I would like to, on behalf deep gratitude to Dr. Espike for always saying yes to our invitation every time we need her expertise. So this certificate of appreciation is virtually given Dean of the School of Teacher Education and Liberal Arts of St. Louis University, Baguio City, for generously sharing her time and expertise as resource speaker for the topic developing course learning packets for flexible learning during the Chedro 1 webinar series 2020 special edition conducted this 25th day of June 2020. Her altruistic dedication in helping di ko mabasa to, the Philippine higher education system in addressing the impact of COVID-19 pandemic through innovative approaches is truly commendable and worth emulating. Given this 25th day of June 2020 at CHED Regional Office 1, City of San Fernando, La Union. Digitally signed, of course, by our OIC Director, Dr. Rogelio T. Galera Jr. Dr. Felina Spikeg, yaman kami unay. Huwag po kayo magsasawa sa aming mga invitations. At kaya po
Maraming salamat po.
sa aming mga speakers. We hope to see you soon physically so that we can have our laughter one-on-one basis.
Okay.
All right. Ma'am Felina, at this point, you would like to request for your concluding statement or message for our viewers for our webinar series today.
Okay, so Ched, thank you very much, especially to our OIC Director. Thank you very much, Sir Galera. And of course, thank you very much also to the participants of this webinar. I hope that you are able, of course, to see all the different parts of our discussion so that there is something that you can apply in your respective institutions. And thank you also to our dear students in St. Louis University. They are texting me because they are also watching this presentation. Thank you also to Father Gilbert Sales for allowing us to always help the Commission on Higher Education in all the ways we can. Thank you very much. Marami pong salamat at mabuhay po tayo. To God be the glory po.
Maraming salamat po ulit, ma'am. All right, dear friends, there you have it. One of our best speakers, Dr. Felina Spike of St. Louis University, Baguio City. One of the most sought after speakers po even in PAFTE. No, those who were able to attend our PAFTE mid-year webinar series, mid-year webinar, I should say, Dr. Spike talked about module writing also. So, naging familiar tayo dun sa OneNote na binabanggit niya kanina. Alright. Para po sa ating link for the e-certificate for this webinar series, ito po, nandyan po. That's HTTPS. Igit na ako, ayan. Ayun. Masyado namang mababa. Anyway, nakikita niyo po siya. That's bit.ly ched learning packets. Ayan, at itong kinaganda pa may makasama ka dito. bit.ly/ched learning packets para po sa inyong e-certificates. You have to evaluate. May pa-quiz po tayo. And then kailangan po ay masagutan nyo po ang ating evaluation on or before, anong oras tayo? On or before 3 o'clock ngayong hapon. So hindi po siya 6 o'clock, ito po ay alas 3 ng hapon. Ay papakita po natin ngayon yung ating guidelines for you to be able to download, or rather, just click the link na lang para makita nyo po yung mga questions there at masagot po ninyo siya on or before 3 o'clock ngayong hapon. And by the way po, nabanggit po kanina ni Dr. Respique yung Open Educational Resource ng CHED. Ang tawag po namin doon ay PhilChed Connect. Pwede po kayong mag-visit. If you wish to contribute your modules or outputs in your classes, just give us an email so we can assist you in uploading your materials for you to be able to help all HEIs throughout the Philippines. Mapa-faculty member man yan o estudyante, para po matuto sila sa atin. Kasi sa Pilipinas, tayo ho, we educate as one. Alright. So dear friends, at this point in time, again, sa ngalan ho ng lahat ng bumubuo ng CHED Regional Office 1, ang aming director, ang aming OIC chief, at ang mga kasama ko po ngayon dito sa aming studio, I have Ma'am Lynette, Sir Elvin, at Sir Mel. Agyaman kami unay, daghang salamat, muchas gracias. We are now going to show you, as part of our concluding portion in our series today, the online information about what PhilChed Connect is all about. Maraming salamat po. Have a very good Thursday today.
Welcome to PhilChed Connect, a higher education open educational resource application. PhilChed Connect contains higher education materials which are useful for teaching, learning, and research purposes. It allows learners and educators to access content anytime, anywhere, free of charge. No registration needed. Just type in the keyword of the topic you wish to search. Click on the categories on the Philippine Standard Classification of Education and browse your way to its rich content. PhilChed Connect is easy to use. Just key in your area of interest. The site offers different relevant and interesting materials to choose from, scholarly prepared, accomplished, and uploaded by competent faculty members and contributors from various partner Philippine higher education institutions. Guided by the principles of open educational resources, these materials such as PDF, audio files, ebooks, presentations, videos, and many more are very beneficial. PhilChed Connect. We educate as one.